Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the first ENTIDAL Original Podcast. We are your hosts. I am Justin.
I'm Dylan.
My name is Jack.
This is Nick.
And so ENTIDAL is going live for the first time on our original podcast. What we're going to do here is have a discussion around some topics that are important to us. We're going to share some exciting news about us and what we're doing. We have a couple of videos we want to release during this podcast. We'll talk about that at the end. But I think we're going to try a little bit different. We've had two other podcasts that we tried before, but we're going to start doing a little bit different style of podcast. So that sounds good. Does anyone else have anything to add?
No, let's just get right into it. Let's go.
Cool. Well, the first things first, again, we're going to have some discussions about some topics that are important to us. But first of all, Nick's going to introduce the music scene that we're going to kind of discuss about our favorite artists, favorite rappers, music we're listening to, and so on. So go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, we're going to start off by talking about people in the industry, specifically the rap industry. And we're going to talk about some of our favorite artists we're listening to right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over some kind of people you probably recognize and kind of talk about their music and why they're important, just kind of why we're listening to them. We're going to get right into that.
Cool.
And Nick, you set up a Spotify playlist with some of our favorite tracks on it.
Yeah, we have a Spotify playlist. It's called ENTIDAL Radio. It's a collaborative playlist between all four of us, and we just kind of add stuff to it, probably daily, within the week, just all the stuff we've been listening to and some of our favorite stuff. So you can always check that out. Just you can always go to my Facebook or my Spotify, and it'll be right on there, or just type in ENTIDAL Radio.
Cool.
Yeah.
Super.
So tell me, somebody you're listening to, something you're excited about.
Yeah, specifically, we're talking about a guy named Playboi Carti. He's new on the scene as of a year or two. He's put out 2 full-length LPs, and he was endorsed by A$AP Rocky. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull it up. Let's put it on the screen here.
Of course, one of my favorite songs in the last year in that area has been Magnolia by that guy I was talking about. And he something about that song I can always just put it on. And the reason I'm talking about him is because his production style is something that I've really never heard. And it's just music you can throw on and listen to over and over again. And he's part of the SoundCloud upbringing that a lot of artists we've been talking about lately. Lil Pump, Smoke Perp, who else? Lil Skies.
Yep.
What's the guy's name? Trippie Redd.
Yeah.
I mean, the aforementioned XXX Tentacion.
Can't even say that.
All those guys
Tentacion.
they've been brought up to the SoundCloud. They're the SoundCloud generation. They're all 17 or 18 years old, and they all have their own distinct style and sound, and they're easily recognizable. But I always wonder how they get so popular so fast. Like, where do they come from? They just have one hit and it just pops off, and people just start.
Well, like you said with like Playboi Carti, how he has A$AP Rocky endorsing him. I think you always get these people who are coming out and releasing all these songs that are hits and everything.
Album, and he already has Skepta, Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, Nicki Minaj, Bryson Tiller. Like, he's got a full-length LP, and I mean, every song is just. The production style is something that really. That's another thing. All these SoundCloud artists, they get famous, they get popular, and all their music is just. If you like rap, you know what I'm coming from. Yeah. I mean, if you don't like rap, you're probably like, oh, what is this guy? Just mumble rap, and they're talking about drugs and all that. But
they share a lot of the same producers too. Yeah. So
that's
like
true.
Metro Boomin, and the feature list is crazy.
Totally.
I actually hadn't even looked at it that deep yet. But
Travis, Uzi.
Love Travis Scott, all that stuff.
And and also these SoundCloud artists, their producers are becoming as famous as the artists themselves. Like, they're getting recognition, and you can hear a sound, and you're like, oh, that was produced by not XX. That was produced by etc.
No, that's cool. I also like that you mentioned like the production value. That's super important, as you mentioned.
I listen to so much stuff. Like, I don't just listen to rap. I listen to rock, country. I don't listen to rock, actually. I listen to a lot of EDM.
Country.
I listen to just a lot of weird, underground stuff. But that's what my playlists have been. Of just
the high quality production is a constant across.
I don't have
all the different
favorite
genres.
artists anymore. I just have music that's new or just coming out. I just listen to it, and I have like 150 playlists on Spotify. I just keep adding to it.
Yeah, same.
But I mean, if you don't like rap, whatever, you're probably not gonna like this guy. But if you appreciate rap for what it is, it's just something you can throw on and drive to. But and then
so
he's newer, but we can also get to guys who've been around for a while.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, Jack, you had another artist that you're into who was
those
also
guys. Hell yeah.
So one of the cool things about Playboi Carti and a lot of these other young rappers, just one thing to bring up that's recent is the new XXL freshman list. It's a group of different rappers every year. Some rappers that have been around for a while but are just starting to make their come up, and other ones who are really young and brand new, like Playboi Carti. So one of the ones from this year was Lil Skies. So Jack,
but he actually refused to be on the photos and do all this stuff with them, but he still wanted to be a part of the list, because I think a lot of these people are straying away from this I don't even know how to explain it, but like this overarching kind of like trying to make it to like make it to the XXL freshman list, because then I'll had made something. It's kind of like basketball or any sport, anything like that. People trying to make it to the next level, but I mean, I like him a lot. I mean, I don't know if he's released anything on the XXL yet, but I know he was nominated, or he was elected to be on the freshman list. But yeah, I like his music a lot. It's just
it's funny. Like, I was listening to all these different videos and freestyles, and like the common themes that are shared between all of these young rappers. They're all saying, "Got diamonds on my wrist, got
face tats, all that stuff like that, grills,
and there's all these references." But yeah, it makes you wonder if you were going to start rapping and you were just referencing those same things. You know, some of these guys don't have as much talent as someone like Playboi Carti or Lil Skies, or any kind of production.
The thing that's setting them apart is they're so young, and their production is really, because they all sound this. You know, they all.
I don't know how old he is,
but
he
has similar things.
109 million.
Like, that's crazy.
Like, these guys. Also, just a quick. How does commenting work on our videos here? We just want to make sure everyone can be engaged on the podcast. So, are people able to?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Meg wants to comment all she wants, she can definitely do that.
Well, I don't know how that works, but anyways, these artists. I mean, look at Trippie Redd, young bands.
I mean, it's
Ski Mask.
Ski Mask Slumka was also part of the freshman
list.
These
are other XXL freshmen
as well.
And you know, I kind of like to separate music from the person. You know, some of these guys are just not the best people. I mean, Trippie Redd,
they're no angels.
Not a good. He's fine. His music's great, but everyone has like a.
He also spelled it wrong, so obviously he doesn't know how to spell it. No, I'm just kidding.
Someone already took it before.
He got
it makes sense now.
Trippie Redd's voice is just out of this, like,
it's like a whiny, really high whiny voice, but like it all works with the production and everything like that. That's how it all is.
Like, how high and whiny? Like, we're talking like little girl.
Maybe even a little higher. If you can go a little bit higher, there you go.
Not even close.
The voice is pretty much everything. A lot of them are
true.
saying very similar stuff.
Yep. It's just the uniqueness of them.
Absolutely. And the production value, like you said, how it sounds.
But it's crazy how you can go from someone being a SoundCloud rapper, just doing this stuff in your room and making these beats, and then having like what we just saw, like have Travis Scott on your album, and you have Nicki Minaj, and you have these people who are noticing you now. It's crazy how there's such a jump from nothing to something now.
Totally.
With all these people like that, I guess you have to have face tats and all that stuff to make it.
Seems like the more you don't give a fuck,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And what do you think's driving that popularity? Like, for example, how do people find out these SoundCloud rappers? Like, are they just listening to them on SoundCloud? Do these rappers get popular and they get on shows?
Dude. It's either memes, or you have people like Playboi Carti who are getting called out from A$AP Rocky, just noticing them, or having friends of someone like that, and they're like, oh, this guy, and it just blows up. Because you can't
I think
figure out
needs one song.
Exactly, it's one song.
And also being endorsed by bigger guys.
But it's not like these SoundCloud rappers are on the radio. It's interesting to know there's like this underground through the internet.
Oh, they're not on the radio at all, but they're on like Sirius XM.
But they get like cuts in between every 2 seconds for their song.
You're not going to get them on
Spotify. I mean, do you see them on like Apple Music and Spotify? Or is it like but SoundCloud?
They come up on SoundCloud, and then stuff gets.
There you go.
And then they release an EP,
pretty much.
You see even internet personalities, like garbage artists that have never actually had any musical experience. They're getting deals from like Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
Like Jake Paul and Daniel Bergoli.
What is it? Yeah, that's crazy. Well, she was actually nominated. That Bergoli girl, she was actually nominated for the XXL freshman list, but she didn't make the list. But still, being nominated is still a crazy thing. That's crazy, going from Catch Me Outside Girl on Dr. Phil to maybe being on one of like the more known rap lists of our generation, which is crazy. That's nuts.
They're just pumping these guys out. There's a new guy called like Icy Blue or something. I don't know. I forgot his name. But
is he the Mexican guy with like the blue hair?
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's like
it's the same thing.
Where are these guys coming from? And Like we made fun of Lil Pump for so
Well,
long, and now look at him.
Okay, so
Jesus Christ.
we came into the trap era, like over a couple, like 5-6 years ago. You know, we had the rap classics like Lil Wayne, and there's actually news surrounding Lil Wayne being able to finally release a Carter 5 because his legal issues with Birdman are wrapping up. But that's a story for another day.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, we have like a new wave of young rappers, even younger than us.
Yeah.
That are coming
like
up.
17,
22.
like Little Xans, stuff like that. People are doing that stuff
Oh my
like
God.
17,
And they all-
16.
The themes that they center around are mostly, you know, drug abuse.
It's the same thing.
And
It's
flexing.
the same thing, but it's just the way they're presenting that to everyone is different.
Can you think of any artists or people that are, you know, not saying that?
Right. Okay, so
Little Dicky. Pretty
I
much.
love
That's
Lil
like,
Dicky.
that's legit.
he
Yeah.
does it ironically.
But
Well,
but it
visual
works for 'em.
storytelling. It
there's a
works with
lot of
his videos,
rappers that
you
do
know?
it ironically, just, you know, just trying to represent some kind of fake lifestyle that they don't actually live. But
But do they want to live it?
But
But
maybe it's all the
okay.
same. Maybe they all do live it, but that's the.
They just don't put it out.
so
Exactly,
rappers with a
maybe.
positive message.
Mhm.
Okay, so everyone has their opinions about XXXTentacion.
Whether his music is
But-
good or him personally is, yeah.
If you watch his new video Sad and you kind of look at some of the things he was saying towards the end of his life, he was really trying to make a change.
But do you
And
think that was
that's-
affected on his death, though, the way that was edited? Or do you think that was already pre-done before they had released it, before his
They
death?
probably had people close to him that were helping.
They probably
Well-
changed it and
You
due to what happened to him, I think.
Do you think they like tried to change his image a little more?
'Cause that's
to-
way too much of a coincidence that like all this,
Sure.
his memorial.
But based
all
on
this stuff
what
like that.
language? Like, did they have pre-recordings or did they just put it in there?
Yeah,
or?
I don't know.
He
That's
is.
what I'm saying. That's
he
crazy.
had, in the months leading up to his death, been talking about like positivity, spreading positivity.
Mhm.
You know, approaching all these mental health subjects that normally a lot of rappers don't put into their music, and trying to make an impact. But we saw kind of the outcome. You know, he never really escaped the lifestyle that he was trying to change from.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I mean,
know
he was
the
only,
whole
what,
story.
20, 21?
He
Right.
was young. Yeah, super young.
Right. So how much change can we expect from a person that's only 20?
I mean,
He's
yeah.
expected. They're
Obviously,
expected
he's
to
had
change,
crazy
but-
life experiences.
You don't
along
feel
the
like
way.
our generation all feels like they can change the world in some aspect? They
Mhm.
almost feel, I wouldn't say entitled, but
Oh, man.
but I
Yikes.
mean, they at least people feel they have high hopes. They they want to
Mhm.
they want to make a change, and that's good. It's just how they make the change, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's really cool. Dylan, you were going to talk about Kanye's new
Yes.
work and the different albums he's worked on,
All right.
including his own.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, I would love to hear more.
I guess we can start with Kids See Ghosts, but so Kanye came out with Ye, which is
His own.
his summer album this year.
Yep.
He's basically doing one a year at this point, like or one every other
Well,
year.
when did he release Ye?
Just recently.
Yeah.
So it's 2 a year now because he did this one. Is this a co-production from him and Cudi on the
Yes.
Kids See
okay.
Ghosts?
So yeah, it's
Kids See Ghosts, yes.
yeah. Okay. So Ye came out first. It was 7 songs, and obviously the popular is All Mine. The most popular one is All Mine. So when this came out, and the album cover says, kind of hard to see, but it says, "I hate being bipolar. It's awesome." So again, with the same thing we were just talking about, artists approaching mental health, and especially with what happened with Kanye leading up to the release of his album, which was it a publicity stunt? Who knows?
Probably.
With
Probably.
TMZ?
Well, with TMZ and
I mean,
also
he
just
put his
the
comment in there
Twitter.
about the slave. He's like slavery was a choice, and
Yeah.
he put that on Twitter.
Mhm.
But it was in his
That went
album, so he
viral.
must have
Right.
been producing.
He not
it.
only said it, but he
It seems like he
doubled
produced it
down.
in like a couple months. Like I'm like I don't know. He just goes to Wyoming and gets I don't know. That's what
Right,
It is.
and it's only 7 songs. It's like a short play.
I feel like he could just release whatever he wants and people are gonna go crazy. He
Yeah,
could just
'cause it's
release a bunch
Kanye
of
West,
ambient
right.
sounds. He could just
Yeah,
do like
for sure.
waterfalls for like 9
And he
hours
knows
and
that,
people
but
would
he
be
knows
like,
that.
"Oh,
I mean,
Waterfalls.
but he does earn the respect of being, a huge producer.
He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
genius, and
congratulations,
he's
all that stuff,
He's
graduation."
genius.
Totally. And where he started specifically, like the music he first released was phenomenal. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, yay.
Right. No
I
one
haven't
was
listened
very
to it.
excited
I
about
haven't
it.
really listened
Right.
to it, but
No one
it's
was very
Kanye.
excited about Ye.
exactly.
And the amount of promotion that went into it, definitely the album underdelivered
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
expectations. If it was really going to be that great or really be a huge political statement, like it pretty much.
But you got those people who are diehard fans that are like, "You don't understand.
It's Kanye.
You don't
It's
understand
Drake.
the
It's
subliminal
Kanye.
message." Yeah, it's
It's
like
funny.
The
You don't
cults.
understand it.
There are cults behind SoundCloud rappers because it doesn't matter what they do. There always will be fans. Like Tekashi 6ix9ine. His whole story about being. He's found guilty of essentially being a pedophile in
Yes.
some sense.
Well,
And
guilty.
he's still famous. he's still going to show. He's still doing he's making money. And then
Yes.
in EDM, for example, it's a whole different scenario. Like Datsik was a dubstep producer for like at least 10 years. He had all these allegations of pretty much drugging women on his tour bus. Boom. He got fired from EDM, and now he doesn't do it like every.
So Spotify just a couple, I think maybe 2 months ago.
They stopped showing people's
Yes,
music
they
on their playlist.
Yes, they disallowed artists with allegations of all different kinds from showing up on their playlist, which is one of the main ways that artists generate money on Spotify.
Yeah, totally.
So like artists like R. Kelly,
Well, that's a whole other situation. Yeah.
Okay, everyone has their opinions about R. Kelly. They removed him from the playlist. They removed him from the playlist. No, everyone knows about R. Kelly.
Okay, but it's gotten even worse though because.
But is it true though? There's
Yes,
no
it's all
collusion.
true.
There's no collusion.
No, it's just not
He had a little something going on. That's for sure.
child
But,
sex cult.
okay, so they removed him from the playlist, but he actually ended up getting more plays on Spotify because of
Exactly.
the buzz that they
Yeah.
generated from making that move. So with a platform like that, how do you win?
But that's
But
Not
yeah.
sure.
okay, so either way, let's just get into this other point really quick because this is another thing that's happened recently. So Party Next Door
I was
is
about to ask, like, who is that?
okay. Party Next Door is an OVO artist, which is he was signed by Drake's label about 3 or 4 years
Okay.
ago, and that's how he came on the scene. Was Drake basically put him on? So 2 of his songs feature Party Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after Ye came out, Pusha T's album Daytona.
Crazy beef. Beef.
Yeah.
Like,
So again, they did a similar kind of publicity stunt around this album, related to Drake potentially having a kid.
well, the whole
Pusha
thing
T,
was Pusha T and
yes.
Kanye was
Pusha
Drake
T
was making
released.
fun of them.
Ooh, the pop.
Sorry.
pop.
Pusha T released that freestyle called "The Story of Adidon,"
Yeah,
which
was Drake's
is
son.
which is a freestyle about
It's working now. Never mind.
Drake basically giving his son a Adidas clothing line deal, rather than being a part of
Being
his
a
life
father.
as a father.
Yeah. Well, it's hard though as well. I mean, he's put in a weird circumstance with all that. I mean, he has a son, but he's also one of the biggest rap stars of whatever our generation. That's crazy. I don't know. It's a different
Absolutely.
ballpark.
And as someone with that much money, you obviously constantly have to be on the lookout for that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I mean,
Who, Drake?
obviously, yes. You don't think?
I think he's the Nickelback of rap, dude.
Are we not going to talk about Scorpion, even though it was just released?
Yes.
I haven't even really
ago.
listened to it.
Okay,
It's
so
Nick, you're the biggest Drake fan that
no, I
I've
don't
met.
think so. That's far from the truth.
You know how to look
Dude,
and
don't
work
drink
like
and
that.
drive.
It's not a Drake
Don't
fan.
drink and drive.
That's
Don't
not a
drink and drive
Drake
or you'll end up with your exes.
That's not true. That's not
so Daytona came out, and that was the second one in the series.
true. Mhm.
And then the third one was Kids See Ghosts, and this is my favorite. It's with
Cudi.
Kid Cudi, and we always like more Cudi music.
Always.
Songs
Mm-mm.
4 and 5.
Really?
Mm-mm.
For someone who likes Mac Miller, that kind of generation
Okay.
had,
He had a change. There was definitely a change in his style,
Sure,
and
yeah.
Mac's style for sure.
for
After
sure,
the whole
for sure.
drug abuse,
But at the
and
same
then he went to
time, that
rehab.
was like Cudi, Miller.
Yeah, I
think-
was never a big fan of Cudi in general. I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
I was
Fair.
a big fan of Cudi.
Dylan, what is Kanye's role in this album?
The production.
He
So
does all the production.
the whole thing, I think, is produced by Kanye. There might be 1 or 2 that aren't, but you can see Pusha T is featured on the first song. Reborn, I'm not sure if that features Kanye, but yeah, again, it's the production sound, like you were talking about. It's the sound of the
He
production.
uses like old classic vinyl records and then just distorts it into.
the samples and using his vocals as an instrument.
That's
Right,
why
that's
it's a
super
huge
cool.
That's
thing.
Kanye West for you.
Is Kanye rapping at all in it? Is
On I
haven't
Could See
listened to it.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
funny.
a little
He
bit.
does like
in
an
Free.
Absol thing with like Kendrick. How Absol always does those like ad libs and the kind of like middle thing to like fill the like fillers in the songs.
He's just the hype guy.
Yeah, pretty much. I think pretty much.
He's
Yeah.
just a hype man.
No, it's cool to see Kanye produce like that. I mean,
Yeah. So
Produces
that
himself.
one's really good. And then the last one is the one I've listened to the least, but it's the most pure rap album, Nazir by Nas. So he has 2 Kanye features on there.
Well, this was a long awaited, I think.
Yeah.
Because then didn't Jay-Z and Beyonce chose the same release date
Ooh.
as Nas, and everyone
Yep.
they got a lot of flack for that because they're like, this is Nas's first album and how many ever what long it's been.
Mhm,
I haven't listened to this. I have to. I should.
mhm.
Yeah. It's good.
Have you listened to Nas before? Not
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Really good rapping. Yeah. Great stuff. So, okay. So we talked about Pusha T and Daytona and everything he came out with against Drake. So in the meantime, Drake was he responded to the beef once with the one song, right? I'm Upset.
everyone's saying like, oh my God, he speaks so much truth. Like, oh my God, understand his
Drake speaks
emotions
my
and stuff like that.
soul.
Like, he had to say something.
I
You
am
can't just let
Drake.
Pusha T go with that diss track and then not say anything about it. But
So then this comes out this week. It's a 2-disc, like 24 song
R&B and
album.
jazz. Rap on one side, R&B in the next.
Okay.
that's crazy. That's
So yeah, you have God's Plan. That's the most popular one, and it goes right into I'm Upset. All the songs in the beginning they're pretty boring. I wasn't very I wasn't super into it. The one with Jay-Z's good. Yeah.
Can never go wrong with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Never go
Well,
wrong.
I swear Jay-Z's going through like a revival right now. I don't know what it is, but
His
so
hair.
We took kind of a hiatus. I mean, he
He
didn't really do anything
they
for
did
a while.
Holy Grail,
Yep.
and then his most recent album 444 was all about the Beyonce, the marriage,
The whole
all of that
allegations
stuff,
and
all
stuff like
about his
that.
kids and cheating allegations. Yeah, and that was a great album. I actually bought it on Apple Music, one of the few albums that I have. I know. I know.
You
Bought
bought
music?
an album?
Yes.
In a
You
world
paid
of
$10 a
Spotify?
month for Spotify
Yesterday
or
was
Apple
the
Music?
last day that Best Buy sold CDs.
When
If you
was
knew
it?
that.
Oh, damn.
Yesterday.
Oh my God.
Let
They'll-
me just get my
they
portable
no
cassette
longer-
player out and pop it up.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
Nick doesn't know how to use Pro Audio, even though he knows all things music.
I don't know all things music. I don't know how to produce music, but I know how to make people produce music.
That's cool. Cool. Well, let's
Manipulation through.
dude, that's a Rez album.
What?
What'd you say?
Wow.
Mass Manipulation?
Yeah.
Mass manipulation. That's good. Good
What do you think the
album.
world's gonna be like in like 100 years?
Wow. That's different
Teslas
subject than music.
everywhere.
Jack's gonna show up to the podcast. We're like 90, but we all have bionic implants.
I'll be a hologram. You guys will be able to go through me and everything.
We'll talk about that in our tech section. Tech corner is what
Tax
we're going to call
section. We're gonna talk about taxes.
This is where we
and
do our
tax
taxes, and we also get the signs of things.
it. Oh, man.
All right.
So
So that's our music for this week. We'll cover some more
True
probably
that.
in the next.
One
on the
thing
next
I
show.
did want to mention was this news about Panic at the Disco, and I think it's important because it's pretty cool. So they are starting their tour here in Minneapolis, end of July. And the other thing that they released recently was they are donating $1 per ticket to a foundation. They're teaming up with a foundation called the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, and I think it's awesome. I mean, $1 per ticket. It's a long name. Nick's laughing because it's a long name.
I was on Facebook, sir.
Oh yeah, well,
Bad timing.
but $1 per ticket, which is cool, and I think
Yes.
Panic at the Disco is one of the only pop punk bands I can think of that really is still relevant. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
a
of
lot of
course.
people
Well,
sold out,
They've been
and
pumping
Yeah.
out albums until.
They took a break though for a while. I mean, they were under the radar for quite a while.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
true, yes, but they're able to go mainstream because I mean, Brendan Urie's
And come
voice
back
is,
from it. Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
totally,
A
his
lot
voice
of
is
it.
phenomenal.
A lot of it is Brendan Urie,
Right, it is at the Brendan Urie show.
the Brendan Urie band.
We can
yeah.
still buy tickets too.
Yeah, where is that? Is that?
It was supposed to be
I
at
thought
the
it was at the
Bank
Armory.
Stadium.
Oh,
Is it
No, it's
Target?
at Target Center now.
Target.
oh,
Yeah.
it's a
It
Target
was
Center.
advertised at the U.S. Bank, but now
Cool.
it's.
Well, it's good to see bands do that. They also have a foundation started by Brendan called the Highest Hopes Foundation. They also work with other nonprofits and important causes. So pretty cool. Like Dylan said, that was our music section. Again, next week we'll talk, or in 2 weeks we'll talk a little bit more about our favorite artists who we're listening to, and just kind of go from there. So
Yeah. But in the meantime, just if you have Spotify, follow the playlist.
Well, I hope you have Spotify.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I mean, if you don't, yeah.
If I had Apple Music, I wouldn't have
Do you
Spotify.
need an account to listen to music on Spotify,
No.
or can you
Yeah,
just
but
go on through
no
Spotify?
commercials.
You don't have to.
No,
Oh.
you can't pick what song you're listening to on Spotify unless you have
It
an
turns
account.
into like
Right.
a Pandora situation.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't look up
The
songs.
battle of the streaming services. Who's going to win it?
Spotify's
Seriously.
already won.
That's
Yeah,
not true.
Spotify's
Yes,
way
it
up.
is.
It's like Netflix.
Cool. Well, let's talk about our work with music.
Yeah.
Dylan, if you don't mind putting up the Entitled website. So part of this podcast is we're super excited about releasing our own content, releasing our website, talking a little bit about what we do in Entitled. But we have been going for the last couple months, going through a redesign. Let's actually put it on the live. So if you want to put it to the
sure.
other side, then we can show everybody. So we just want to give a little tour to Entitled's website, kind of where we're going to host everything from now on. And yeah, just discuss like, hey, this is what you can expect from Entitled moving forward. We spent a lot of time working on this website.
Wait for it. It's legs.
I got it, I got it.
Can't see it.
And let's see here.
Let's go up.
Can we do it?
Got it. So yeah,
Sweet.
this is our homepage. If you go scroll through, you will find the latest content from us. Kind of a description and explanation of the different sides to Entitled, our production work, our media content that we cover. And if we scroll down, we have a new release today. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the releases that we have, but this is one of the videos that we made. Yeah, this is
our first entry into the comedy sketch realm.
That's right. Comedy skits is what we're calling them. We don't have a name, but our good friend and producer, David Dobbins, really wanted to do something with us. So here it is. Otherwise, you can see more featured content. There is, some of the Entitled Music stuff that we do. Nick will talk a little bit more about that. The latest content from us, which is great.
So much.
Yeah, there's so much content. We've been around for the last 3 years, and we just have been building more and more content. Before we go into a little bit about us, I wanted to show the music section. Hey, that's Jack. He's so happy. Look, he's happy there. But
it was a good time.
He's
it was
happy?
a good time.
Dylan made a joke.
You can never catch him.
Dylan was so funny.
He's
such a funny guy.
Cool
Such
guy.
a card.
I love
Totally.
Dylan.
So Entitled Music, this is our Entitled Music section where we talk about our work with artists. Who has Time Hop? Does everyone use Time Hop?
I think it's been around.
No.
It pops up on my Facebook.
Really?
Up on my Facebook.
It was cool, actually, because Time Hop showed me that it's a year anniversary since we released the first Greatest Tapes, which is pretty cool, which was in July of last year. Remo Drive, band.
Are we going to talk about that at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But I'm actually very excited for them being signed to Epitaph in LA, which is really cool. But yeah, this is our collaborations, Entitled Music, where you can find anything music that we do.
Yeah, their 2-song release is great. I like what they're.
Oh yeah, they're
going a totally different way. Yeah, they sound a lot different. Not so much emo anymore. They're going a little bit more
trying to be
poppier,
more pop mainstream.
Yeah, I mean that's
pop
fine,
music,
but
pop music.
Yeah.
Right. So again, this is our Entitled Music website. You can find it at entitled.com/music.
Well, it's our Entitled Music. I mean, it's our Entitled website.
Yep, this is our website, but that was the music section, and you can find a little bit more. We'll talk a little bit more about the website as we continue the podcast, but just want to show a glimpse into the work that we're doing. And
yeah, we're super excited for it.
Yeah, we're super excited to launch it and do our live streams from there in our podcast.
Go to the website, look around a little bit. You're going to want to focus on that media tab. If you want to find out more about us, you can always go into the Wave. We have some bios in there. Otherwise, if you know anyone that needs videos or have good ideas for videos, feel free to contact us. We'll check out your idea and see if it fits in.
We're a collective.
We're a collective. We collaborate.
Totally. And not to mention, we have some things coming up. You can check out something that we're super excited about. Is a couple things, but check it out. Some dates that we have marked, and we'll talk a little bit more about these experiences that we're gonna have. So,
Exciting stuff. Exciting.
yes. So let's go ahead and the next section in discussion that we're going to talk about is something that we were calling billionaire bashing. Bashing.
Great name. Great name.
Because what we do in the podcast is kind of discuss people that we are looking to and people that we look up to, but also people that we are going to bash, essentially bash like a rat.
Because good old Charlie work.
We don't condone violence.
Well, unless it's necessary, right?
Unless they're words.
Unless it's self-defense.
Self-defense is even, I don't know, it's a gray area.
So for this week,
So who's on the docket?
who's on the bashing?
This is
Who's gonna get bashed?
Who's gonna get bashed?
Such a good word. Just say bash with
The
me.
rat
It's
stick.
Bash.
Going to the bash.
We picked Mark Zuckerberg. He's been somebody that's been in the news.
Also known as
Zuck the
the
cuck.
Zuck.
Oh, sorry.
Zuck the cock.
Sorry, I've seen memes.
Facebook is a great platform to stream on.
But yeah, yikes.
So Zuckerberg, let's open up the discussion a little bit. So in the news recently, I read something about him and Warren Buffett being almost tied for one of the top 10 billionaires. They're kind of going back and forth in their net worth. It looks like also there's a lot in the news about how people are disapproving of Zuckerberg leading Facebook based on the privacy concerns and different things that have been happening to the company and what they've kind of publicly come out and have admitted to as far as what they've done. So yeah, it's good to know that Mark Zuckerberg, very intelligent person. Facebook is an incredible platform as we continue to stream. So if you're listening, Facebook, we love you. We love you so much.
It's like a love-hate relationship with like the YouTubers and YouTube demonetizing content one video at a time.
I think that's how everyone feels about it. Even if they're not producing stuff on the platform, they still have their information on there. So it's a love-hate relationship.
It's a catalog.
How much should you share?
Can you stop using Facebook?
What's the morally right amount to share? I don't know. There was like an exit. There was an exit from Facebook.
No, people keep coming back. I mean, I use Instagram and Twitter.
They always will.
I don't use Snapchat after that horrible.
Most users of any website ever created.
Yeah, it's like Facebook is your, yearbook, and, Instagram or just, any other platform is just a snippet of that. It's the highlights of all that. But a couple things that I've read. So 83% of independent Facebook investors believe Mark Zuckerberg should be fired as chairman of the board. It is extremely rare for a majority of common stockholders to vote against their own CEO with such a massive majority. The shareholders' problem is that Zuckerberg has a history of making mistakes. These are just some interesting opinions. This is Business Insider, by the way. Business Insider, you can find that, but it's
insider information.
I wish it was. I wish we had the insider information, but it is an analysis by Business Insider. So what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, Facebook, again, stock price 194. It's doing well there. Investors are concerned. People on the board, it's interesting based on all the privacy concerns.
I mean, you signed up for it. I mean, you had the terms of
agreement, all that stuff like that. You have to read before you sign up for an account, all that stuff.
We know that our data is being put out there. I mean, you ever search like on Instagram even? They advertise products that you've looked for or talked about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there's voice recording, but there is evidence of that.
With all the Alexa and stuff like that.
But your data is being sold to companies to the highest bidder just for advertising products that you would want to buy. So, just how far are they willing to go? You're using a free platform. I mean, is that like the compromise? They can use your data.
That's a great point. I would say that, yes, you accept to those terms and conditions, but the opposite of that is not, hey, Facebook, sell my information for political purposes or for money and control. Like, that's where I think, we should draw the line, or, I mean, they got caught, essentially. It wasn't transparent that they were doing that. And what scandal that was the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Yeah, I mean,
they're close to 1 billion users. I mean, it's very important that everything is kept in check, right? Especially when news is being leaked out during an election cycle and presidential election cycle.
Totally.
And we have news from outside sources that is being just shared on Facebook, and we don't know where it's coming from. And people are like,
absolutely.
Oh, that's where, honestly, you can think what you want, but in my opinion, that's where the fake news, quote unquote, spawned from, is people sharing that on Facebook without any real source or backing up. Like, go to the website itself, and there's no evidence, there's no credits or credentials.
Just false accusations.
Does Facebook have a moral responsibility to weed out fake news?
And they are doing that
from people's timelines.
Yes, they're doing that.
And people within Facebook should be evaluating these sources based on whether they're funded by state-run media, like funded by the state, or funded by outside groups to tell untruths about things that we care about.
For sure. It's also important to know that Facebook is hungry for our information because that's their monetize, that's what they monetize.
That's their product.
Exactly.
All right. And also, good point, Dylan. People should think critically about whether they read something that's fake or real. We should be the filters. Yes, Facebook has a duty and job to do that, but it honestly comes down to, what do you believe? What's in front of you? Do you think about it critically, etc.?
So I know it's somewhat unrelated, but I was watching a video either on Facebook or YouTube, and it was a RT video, which is run by the Russian government. RT, the channel. They changed the name to Redacted tonight, but it's still Russian television. Under the video, it said, this program is funded wholly or in part by the Russian government.
Yeah.
So, like, if we're going to be putting that label underneath, RT, what U.S. media outlets do you think would qualify to have that put under? Is this is funded at least in part or wholly by the U.S. government?
That's a good point.
That's a whole nother level of, not necessarily control, but that's another step in government into your life.
It's another moral question.
But if it's going to protect against, untruths,
I think if we start making Facebook the arbiters of what's truth and what's not, and like, it probably raise the intelligence of the public if we had a general agreement on truths.
I just don't think people are.
That's true. Yeah.
Not everyone is agile enough to like.
I feel like right now.
I love what you said there, because if you listen to Pod Save America, another great podcast, excuse me, I'm totally blank on his name. The host always talks about there's no neutral truth. Where is the neutral truth that is essentially everyone agrees upon regardless of political view?
And if anything, we're getting farther away from that than
more
closer.
Politicized, yes. And
if an event occurs, it's going to be reported on every media site. And that is fact, because
and everyone understands that because it's something that actually happened. But when politics gets involved in its opinions
don't have to be fact checked, I don't think, because they're an opinion, you know, they don't have to be, going into it, it's an opinion
Mm-hmm.
of the subject. But if someone's like, oh, this politician did this, and there's no backing up, there's no evidence for it, there's just
Totally.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I also have a strong maybe belief, or at least a hunch, that most people get their news from what they scroll through their feed. You know, I believe people probably still go to, you know, the CNN app or, you know, the Star Tribune if you're on the newspaper. I still think people do that, but I do think people are more influenced by what they consume on social media and the news stories that they consume on social media.
Yeah, I just scroll through my
absolutely.
Twitter and get all my information and my daily source of memes.
Totally.
I say like
You're not doing it. No.
I feel like people get confirmation on the information they're taking in based on the amount of outlets reporting on that story. If you have like, you know, a mass shooting somewhere, obviously all the main news outlets are going to report on it, and everyone agrees that it happened and it's real and all of that.
Well,
But-
on Reddit, like people post about a political subject or something, like the Supreme Court issue, but that was posted by like at
Depends
least
on how you look at it.
80 different news sites, and those are all compiled into one. So you have everything's backed up. Like that's
That's why I think, I mean, most people scrolling through Facebook wouldn't take a single article that they'd never heard anything about before.
And do they even click on the article itself, or just read the headline and go, oh wow?
But like I was saying, most people rely on multiple sources of
I don't
confirmation.
think so. Not anymore. I think people are going through these Facebook, seeing these articles and being like, "That's fact.
That's happening.
That's fact." They don't care about what's truth or not. They care about what's compelling to them. And I think that all these new articles, hearing about
Yes.
whatever they're
Exactly.
saying, they're just like, I'm taking that for fact, because they don't want to do their
Totally.
due diligence and find out what exactly is truth and what's not.
If Facebook's good at anything, it's curating content that suits your informational bias.
Exactly.
It's suiting what you prefer and what you want to see, essentially. And that's a problem, because then you might not look at the other side, or might not continue to think critically, because Facebook is your pal and it thinks so good for you, wants to think for
but
you.
they're reporting on subjects that you have a gut reaction to. Those are
Exactly.
abortion,
Facebook.
immigration.
It's hot topics.
Social,
It's just
social,
hot
like
topics.
those are instilled. Like those,
Yes.
You have a reaction that's like it's a gut reaction. You don't go, oh, I have to think about that. Like you either do believe in that or you don't, and there's no way that you can be pulled from one side to the other. Like that's just in your gut. You're not going to be able.
Right, totally. But I mean, if you're only consuming Facebook articles that you see that are on those important issues like abortion or gun rights, whatever that you're passionate about, it's not good if you're not still thinking critically about it, even though you prefer that type of information. That's the difference. Thinking critically.
That's true.
And there's
true.
and everyone has a different opinion on stuff. But I also think there's some subjects that are just morally
Morally, yeah.
Like-
totally.
like the
Well, like
whole,
the shooting
whole
and
gay
stuff like
rights
that.
issue, like in 2012, 2011, like not gay rights issue, but like
Marriage. The
marriage.
gay
Yeah.
marriage. all
It
stuff like
was
that.
coming
Makes sense.
mainstream.
Okay.
So it's like
Exactly.
Yes.
it's obviously you can be on the wrong side of history in that subject.
But a lot of our
You don't
news
have to believe it,
outlets
yeah.
were hosting people that were against it.
Mhm.
You know, they were allowing these people to come on their shows and posting articles about how this would never come to pass.
Well, once something becomes mainstream, and people are more likely to agree with that subject. Like
Totally.
Right.
gay marriage, like, oh, I guess this is the right thing to do, even though before I didn't believe in it, but now I do because it's
That's
right.
true. Yeah.
It's the whole thing how racism evolved from the 60s to now. Like, it's not egalitarian to be racist anymore. No one wants to know that someone else, even if you are racist, no one wants to know. They don't want to know that they're racist. Like, they don't want to.
Do you think everyone's a little bit racist though?
That's
Or at least
that's a different
prejudiced? Or
subject.
at least
I
prejudiced to
think
some
everyone
point?
just had some.
Yeah,
has
let's
some-
bring it back to Facebook, because
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
we started with Mark Zuckerberg, and I mean, this is good. It's
Yeah.
just, for somebody who has so much wealth and so much money, he has a lot of control. He has two big banks, essentially. He has, his cash flow, his wealth, whatever. But
And his
Facebook is a whole nother thing of control. Oh, that's my kitty. I have a cat coming in here. But Facebook is a big informational bank that sells your information to, people who want to buy it for ads or
The highest
What do you
bidder.
think is
Swing
the real
elections.
thing when people say that I have nothing to hide, so what's the problem? And then you have people who are on the
Truth.
opposite side
I like
who
my
are like,
privacy.
yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
It's a debate about privacy being a commodity.
Yep.
So paying for your privacy,
Mm-hmm.
where there is a big, population of people who just trust Facebook because they have that mentality of, hey, I have nothing to hide. Why do I care? But when it comes to a point where technology or, social media is so much in your life that it knows literally everything from where you go to your heartbeat, it's becoming more of a part of you than it is coming, something you have to pay for, something that's
Absolutely.
outside of you,
Or even wearable technology like the
Right,
Apple
the
Watch.
Apple Watch or
It's all
wearables.
going to be integrated into us. We're going to have Facebook.
Right.
And
in our brain.
obviously,
That'd be cool.
obviously, law and regulation is never in line with the amount of innovation that's going on. Like we don't have rules and protections that are keeping us safe from these kind of new
That's
technologies and developments.
Exactly.
It's mostly
There's
like
nothing in the Constitution that's relevant now to the types of technology that we have. So it's super up to us. And this is a great segue because Elon Musk is a huge advocate for making sure, and Bill Gates, by the way, is a huge advocate for making sure that we have laws against AI, have laws against technology.
People aren't thinking about that yet because it's
Exactly.
like
It's not.
It's not happening.
It's not
AI
now.
tech- yeah.
It's not now. So
not until you watch Google Duplex, make a dinner reservation for you. And
AI
those are the things that wake people up.
AI laws will become a thing, and they have to be.
Totally.
Some
Alexa
people have
ordering
a-
you toothpaste every single time your toothpaste runs out. You have
Oh,
toilet
man.
paper
Some
running
people
out.
have a
It
negative-
delivers
that's Amazon.
for you. Like that's
Jeff Bezos.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have a negative outlook on AI or a positive? What do you think? Do you think
It's tough
become out of
because
control? Like Elon Musk has a kind of a pessimistic look on it.
yes, absolutely.
And Mark Zuckerberg, of course, because we don't know if he's human, but he's a
Lizard person.
optimist. Thanks Facebook for the live stream. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be cool, but it's going to be more and more advanced. to the
cool,
point.
but needs to be controlled.
of course.
Do you
It
think
needs to
so
be
though?
controlled.
Do you think it'll get out of hand? Is that a
It's not
possibility?
necessarily getting out of hand; it's getting in the wrong hands.
That's
It's
true.
It's people using it for their own personal wealth
Mm-hmm.
and power and gain versus doing the right thing for people.
Have you heard of
in general.
singularity?
See, I don't think so.
By
'cause we-
2050,
that's not possible.
Well, it is
Well, hold on,
possible.
let Jack make his point. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
Because you would have to program human characteristics into an AI for it
Mm-hmm.
to control and act like a human. So
No,
you
yeah.
personally have to put those in there.
So
I don't
once
think
an
people would ever do
AI,
that.
once AI becomes self-aware, that's
How?
when the breaking point where they have infinite, what is it called? They can get smarter than us, and they become more powerful.
But
and-
they wouldn't have greed. They wouldn't have self
Who knows? How do you know?
self-interest because
okay. Okay.
we would have programmed. Okay.
Have you guys seen season 8 of
Westworld?
Westworld?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the main top. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Just
this
spoil
is
it. No, just don't.
One of the main topics that is discussed in the most recent season is, so this park was built not to give people all the experiences that they could ever desire, but to study them and make copies of them as close to real as they possibly can, make copies of everyone that's ever been to the park. So, something like Facebook that's evaluating all of your choices, all of your ads. So what if they're building, not an army,
Like
but
Tron
But
World?
what if they have data on all these they probably have data on all these different humans, all the choices they make, and based on that they can develop some kind of profile and build a very similar kind of
But its instinct for AI wouldn't be to be like self-preservation, or it wouldn't be for money. It wouldn't be for like self-interest. It'd
Right.
be just what would work best in the algorithmic.
That's a good point.
Like,
But if your
typing
AI
that the
is
person
built
made.
around studying human behavior,
which is
It would never know, though.
self-centered, or it could be a
Right,
whole range
flawed,
of personality.
flawed.
Yes.
Uh,
well,
clearly
even
flawed.
humans don't understand each other. Like you have Spanish speakers who don't understand sarcasm as English people do, and they're
There's a
human.
barrier.
It's the same thing.
so much of the English language is
But they're speaking different
around
languages.
sayings.
But just even like when if I talk in my kitchen to people and I say sarcasm, they have no idea that I was sarcastic in that form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are human. They should understand that, but they don't.
It's
You
just
would
simply-
have to
yeah.
program that within the AI for itself to understand
Just
whatever that is.
think
It's-
about in
it's
the
such a
50s.
complex.
People didn't know that we were gonna have Siri or something, or Alexa, like stuff like that. You can order stuff off the internet by talking to an AI that orders stuff based on.
That
your-
is true. That is true.
We don't know where it's gonna happen in 50 years.
That's very
A
true.
good-
CRISPR is the thing, DNA. What is it called? It's CRISPR. Dylan, what's it about?
You brought that into
CRISPR
Electronic DNA. I don't even
What?
know
No,
what CRISPR is.
CRISPR is DNA.
sequencing,
You can pretty much
manipulate the DNA to
Yeah.
have specific characters and traits.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
designer DNA.
Yeah,
One-
designer DNA. That's the
Yeah.
So bringing it back in a little bit, one general observation that I have is about Google, Facebook, and those tech companies is that they can build that database that you mentioned to a point where they understand and they could clone Jack because they know so much about Jack. It's a good observation because the products that specifically Amazon is coming out with, like the Amazon Echo, any of the the home smart speakers, they have such a good interface, specifically Google and Amazon, because they have this database of conversations and human interactions. On the flip side, Apple is different because their mentality is they don't want to buy your information to make a product. It's they protect the product and the information separate from each other, and that's why Siri sucks. That's why Siri sucks and needs to improve because it's such a central asset to the way we're going to interact with technology. Voice.
I mean, Marquise Brownlee.
That's the new thing.
He doesn't like Marquise Brownlee, the tech reviewer.
Yep.
He does not like Siri. He still thinks. I mean, he loves Apple
products.
It's
but kindergarten compared to what Duplex can do or Amazon.
Have you seen
Amazon
Echo? Bring that up, the Duplex video.
Yeah, I'm sure we could share. What we'll do is we'll share any videos that we reference.
But yeah, just talking about it is you're able to program an AI assistant to request appointments.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Order pizza, and they say when they talk, it's so human-like.
So they showed that at the latest Google.
It's like they say they go.
What's it called? The Google conference.
Yep.
When would you like that? Probably 7. Like it sounds like human-like.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Scary.
Check it out. It's definitely out on the web. We can share it for you.
The dark web.
Yeah. So going back to the
Elon
central
Musk.
subject, yes. So we always want to talk about a CEO or billionaire that we might not be so fond of. Somebody else that we want to talk about though is Elon Musk, who specifically is doing. I mean, we can generally agree that doing great things for technology, has the right mindset and leadership. Yeah, I mean, Tesla. I mean, anything you want to say? Or?
Okay, so Elon Musk, not even just Tesla. He has multiple companies, not just Tesla, SpaceX. He has the Boring Company, which is one that's making some big moves right now as well.
It's all futurism too. It's all based on
very futuristic. You know, in this
have you driven a Tesla?
Is that actually like one of the holes? Is that one of the actual? Yeah. Do you know? I don't know.
It's
just
proof
an
of
article,
concept.
But I mean,
it's proof of concept.
Okay.
So just think about what's happened in the last year with Elon Musk. Okay, so they did the Falcon 9 launch. They did the dual rocket landing.
Yes. Yep.
On drone ship 2. They did.
Well, even before that, they're mastering the autonomous. Well, not mastering, but pretty much closely getting the autonomous cars to a point where they're fully autonomous.
Okay.
Without any problems. That's
and
insane.
Announcing basically the biggest electric car, the Model 3, which they're in production for.
The commercial, the first production car. Like the first commercially.
That is not millions and millions and millions of dollars. Even though they're not millions.
It's going to be affordable. I think the Model 3 is going to be somewhere between like 30 to
well, the Model
40. 3
is out.
I mean, people are receiving middle class.
There are Model 3s now driving.
Yeah, yes. Right. So and along with that, they did the truck. They released their Tesla.
I've seen that.
Tesla commercial truck.
Is it autonomous or is it a human?
It is autonomous.
Well, here's the thing. So autonomous, saying it's autonomous is not correct because Tesla's technology for self-driving cars isn't that you can't drive it. I mean, you have to still drive the car.
But here's the thing. The truck, the Tesla truck would be game-changing. No fuel costs. You don't have a driver who has to sleep. You know, trucks have sometimes they have teams where one person drives for 400 miles.
So the seat is actually situated in the middle of the truck cab. There's not 2 seats. It's situated in the middle. So it's not supposed to go into production until 2019. Cool. Prototypes are driving around already. So if you just think about
play that video.
If you just think about the total picture here. So you have the Tesla, you have solar panels. Tesla makes solar panels
That's so crazy. And you know, these
do you see how the driver's in the middle, not on the left or right side?
It makes more sense.
Right. That's how product is shipped around the world every single day. And when you have an autonomous vehicle,
with no backload on it, it's just a straight truck. That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so if you think about it, if you have solar panels, Tesla sets you up with your solar panel provider in your area, and then you get your power wall, which is a storage device. So the two main issues with solar energy is production and storage.
Right.
So Elon Musk, in the past 5 to 10 years, he built this gigafactory in Nevada, where they're
one of the biggest too.
One of the biggest factories in the United States,
yeah.
Where they're manufacturing these batteries and their power walls and all of this generation and storage equipment.
Yep.
So then,
didn't they send that to who was it? Was it Costa Rica or Puerto Rico? The one that got hit by the hurricane? Because I know they had to do a huge rebuild, and I think Tesla went there with a bunch of those batteries that you're talking about.
Oh, really? Yeah, and powered homes.
Try to redo everything.
That's a great example of how Tesla has the right idea for technology or batteries or whatever you want to call it, whatever they're doing for humanity. Like it's good to see people like Elon Musk lead a company that's going to drive the future.
Exactly. It's almost like that single seed that you need to plant like crop in like a desert or something like that. It's something that's just like so unfathomable that, but it's coming to fruition now, and it's absolutely insane to see it happening, and it's really exciting, I think.
Totally.
So you have the generation, you have the storage, and then you buy a Tesla car. You have basically unlimited transportation. There's superchargers, especially in California. But yeah, so if you have the power generation and the storage, you have your mode of transportation, and you have your power for your house or your place of living. Like
self-sustaining.
Do you
think that's going to happen though?
It's the total package.
Do you think that the government will allow everyone to be self-sustaining? That
if we have the right people, obviously in government, but hopefully. The problem is that there's so much money in the opposite of
oil,
gas,
all
that
electric,
stuff.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, I don't, just how would they transition everyone from gas-powered vehicles to electric? I think it can be done, or it's autonomous. That's the future. You don't need to be driving a car. I mean, it's fun, it's whatever, but that's
safer.
It's so safe.
Safer for not people.
Somebody already died but here's the thing. I think it was equivalent to a 757, like 30 757s crashing every day. That's the amount of people who die in a car crash every single day.
Yeah.
So we have one death that was human error.
Absolutely. And someone was killed by Google self-driving car as well.
But
a pedestrian.
Obviously deaths are not good in this, but when you're talking about the car, like cars and transportation, it'll be massive. We'll have a massive decrease in.
So I believe Hawaii is trying to ban gasoline cars by 2022.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's insane.
So
think about like when we're 40 years old.
Yep, totally.
Think about that.
Right?
Like that's insane.
Can't wait.
15 years from now on, just like what changes are going to be happening.
Also, something to mention, like if you've ever been in a Tesla, I don't know if you guys have been in a Tesla, it's the best user experience that I've ever had with a car. I've driven a couple, newer cars, and what's up with that UI? Like, what's up with having to connect your phone and, the menu system? Like, it just seems so archaic, and I think Tesla is really at least nailing it as far as the experience you have driving a Tesla.
Well, the screen is like massive.
Right.
It takes
huge.
Yes,
like an iPad.
but from
you can control every aspect of your experience while you're driving the car.
Yes. Also, it has an app, so the app lets you turn on the car from wherever you are, as well as turn on the AC if it's a hot day. You can have the AC running beforehand. I think Tesla has it down from the to the T from front to end. User experience, the way that the car drives, all that. Like, there's not a company that cares that much about the user experience because, like the menu system, the internals are all probably outsourced to like Microsoft or other companies who are developing like an internal car system. But Tesla's all original. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very, very cool product. One of a kind. So just a couple weeks ago, Elon Musk tweeted out because they had to lay off a certain amount of their employees just based on how much the company has grown so rapidly. He said duplication of roles, that kind of thing. But they're doing what they need to do to meet this goal that basically he set for himself of making 5,000 Model 3s a week to keep up with demand and deliver for their customers that have invested in them already.
Right. Because let's be honest, Tesla's way behind in production. They overpromised and underdelivered, but they are trying to do catch up. Investors for a minute there were getting kind of shaky because they invested. I mean, if you're an investor in Tesla, the stock price is like $330, $350. But it's cool to see people stick with Tesla as a company because they do have faith that they're going to deliver these cars and deliver the technology to the world.
And Elon Musk is very responsive on Twitter. Like, he responds to a lot of people.
Did you guys see the flamethrower that he actually sold?
Oh
yeah. That was
there's some YouTube guy who has one. He has like a new Tesla car.
Yeah, it's David Dobrik has one, dude.
Yes, that guy. Yeah, he just had the flamethrower, but he was blowing it right in the guy's face, and it wasn't doing anything to him. So it must be super controlled, and the way that they built it must be absolutely insane.
The thing starts at 30,000, but that's not with autonomous driving.
Think about there's a lot of cars that start at $30,000.
No, it's a cheaper Tesla. But,
oh really?
But when that's what it is. Commercially, it's an affordable car in the Tesla.
How long do you guys think it's going to take until Tesla takes over the car industry?
I think how long will it take until this type of car and other
becomes like a Honda, or someone's like, oh, I'm looking to buy a car, and be like, oh, let's look at the Teslas, because I know if you go to a car place, you're going to go to a Tesla because you have the money for it.
Totally. It's luxurious. It's high end. Yes. I don't think it would be appropriate to say Tesla is going to, monopolize the car industry
It
because
might if he knows how to make his batteries smaller, cheaper,
Yes.
longer lasting,
Right.
everything like that.
but people still buy $19,000, $15,000, $10,000 cars, and they don't care necessarily about the technology. They don't care about that user experience. It would be great if we all switched to electric cars, which was something that we were going to do as a community, as a society, in the 90s. But the gas and the oil interest all took over the government,
Absolutely.
took over the money, and took over the companies, Ford and all that. So it's tough to say, but Tesla, super respectable, super responsive, and can't wait to see what comes from Tesla.
Especially the boring
Especially
company.
yeah.
I compare this to like when cities build upwards because they have such a high density area, so they build their buildings. That's why you have
Taller and
so we're building lower to transport people, so we limit traffic congestion
And emissions and everything.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Have you seen that thing start and stop?
Yeah. So, okay. So a couple things. So first of all, I think it's got to be over a year ago now. They hosted a design.
Jack, what is that? I'm gonna see what that is.
Sorry, yeah.
They hosted a design competition for this thing called Hyperloop, is what their working title for it was. So a bunch of different groups from all different kinds of colleges and different entrepreneurs and stuff like that, they came out to the desert and tried to find a solution to moving people as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible, and as safely as possible. So the solution they came back with was this system, and I'll try to pull up a video of it, but I just want
have you
to...
seen the promo, like
Yeah.
the main video from
The
Tesla?
car is going into
Yeah.
the, into
And
the,
it
into the
lowers
link, and it
down
goes
and
down, it goes in.
All right, I'll pull it up. You guys
But that
just talk
is so
for a sec.
far from happening, though. You got to
It is.
imagine, like,
It
it's
is.
such a stretch for now, thinking about tunnels and tunnels and
Right.
tunnels and how
I
these
think
cars are
about
going to come down.
iRobot, like, yeah.
It's legitimately iRobot.
Yeah.
Or
it's pretty cool.
Minority Report. Wait, no. Yeah,
Anything
cars?
futuristic,
Yeah.
like robots, all that stuff like that. It's exactly how it is, but it's just
Totally.
That movie.
it's years and years from happening.
Right. But it's good to plant that seed, as you've said before. And even though it is future and far-fetching, it's good to have those ideas and concepts being pushed by somebody like Elon Musk. I mean, is this like the test?
Yeah, I think this is... Okay, so...
I think the mechanics of it makes sense. The mechanics is the same
So
as
it's
any other
hovering
train
right
or
now.
anything like
It's
that.
like
on magnetic
It's a magnet.
levitation.
It's a magnet, yeah.
Okay, so they had this design competition out in the desert and basically came up with this long tube,
That's
and
insane.
then you'd be riding on either air or magnetism. I'm
think it's
actually not
magnets.
sure.
I think
is it
magnets
magnets?
I think magnets would
I
make
swear
more
it was
sense 'cause
air.
that's what the Japanese
Magnets
The
makes
maglev
sense.
trains.
They're
Yeah,
super
they're
fast
crazy
one.
fast.
How it stops. And how it
So,
starts.
okay, so
Wow.
you have your long tube, and supposedly
SpaceX? Oh.
you can get up to speeds of about 700 miles an hour. Okay? And it's supposed to make the trip between LA and San Francisco, I think it was 1 hour or
Wow,
2
I'm
hours.
not sure.
How long is the trek
I
in
believe
the
it
first
was
place?
2 hours. It's got to be at least 3 or 4.
Well, it depends on how
I'll do
fast
it
you
right
go,
now.
right?
I'll do it
Do
right
the
now.
math.
I'll do it right now.
All right, yeah, you can figure it out. But so what's crazy about this is it's running on this kind of rail system, but it's levitating. But obviously much safer,
Yeah.
so efficient.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because this
Oh,
is
this is what
something
it
that
is.
Elon Musk,
half hour to an hour
is doing.
6 to 8 hours by
Automobile.
car, 4 hours by flight. No, it's 5. Oh wow.
It's something that he's doing that not.
From San Francisco to LAX, yeah. The flight is 5 hours and 20 minutes. The drive is 8 hours, and the Hyperloop will get you there in under an hour.
You mentioned this is a
It'd
company
be the
that.
same as a plane, though. Is that what they're saying
Dylan,
right now?
you mentioned this is a
No,
company that
planes,
Elon Musk
5 to 6 hours.
isn't as
sorry.
vocal about, or it isn't. People might not know this as much compared to like Tesla or his other projects and whatnot.
Like regarding Hyperloop, how
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean the technology. Like this is. You said this is a company that he.
so
is
yeah,
ahead
the flamethrower. So he sold those flamethrowers, right? That was all just a publicity stunt to get more attention around the Boring Company.
of, which is what? What's the company?
So the Boring Company was created to basically drill holes through mountains for the Hyperloop.
Wow.
So he created this company called the Boring Company, Boring, just basically to create the environment for Hyperloop.
Really
and
cool.
yeah, very cool. He
Would it be
sold,
sustainable to sit in there for an hour? In little.
I mean, what do you do a plane for 3 hours?
yeah,
No, but
But it's
you'd
so
be going
fast,
600
though.
miles
It's so
an hour.
fast. Like that's what I'm
What if
thinking.
you had to go to the bathroom?
What do you mean?
You just let it fly, and it flies to the back of the.
I'm like, what do you just
That is
stop
true,
in the
yeah.
middle? They're gonna have little bathrooms every hour.
No, diaper.
We'll just have a tube. Yeah.
Are you telling me you cannot sit still without having to go to the bathroom for
You
an
can
hour
go to
and
the
a half?
bathroom on a plane, a train,
But that's
an
3
automobile.
hours.
But when you go in the Hyperloop, you're just gonna have to be, I don't know.
Nick,
It's
I know
just-
you.
it's
I know you have to go to the bathroom every hour,
inconveniences,
but I mean, the Hyperloop might not
That's
be
you.
because you have to take a hyper poop.
Well, see
That's
it.
you.
See it.
That's
See in
so
this
you.
graph, they have the
Hyper
stops. They have stops represented here. So they have you going to the airport, or on the drive, they have you stopping there, eating there, and needing gas by
Driving
then.
gas.
And then with the plane, you have arriving at the airport, security.
Yeah, how would they do that? Think
Picking
about
up
that.
your luggage.
If you're in the hypertube, you run out of gas because you're an idiot and didn't fill up your fucking tank.
Then
You stop in the middle of the fucking hyper
Demonetized.
tank. Does that stop everyone else?
You don't need gas in the Hyperloop.
But that's
You
what
know
it's
what it
saying right
reminds me
there.
of?
The drive.
No. So this is if you were to drive from San Francisco to LA using.
It's infinite, so the battery life makes
no,
no
that's the
difference.
Hyperloop logo.
I know.
This is with a regular car. Okay, so if you're driving a regular car from San Francisco to
8
LA,
hours.
So I get that.
it'll
but,
take you 8 hours.
but you still need
Gas.
to use energy of some sort for the Hyperloop.
Right,
Yes.
but it's provided not by the car. It's not.
It's provided by the track.
You're not
Sure it
traveling
is.
in a. Okay, so this is what I was going to
Just
talk about.
low in your vehicle.
So in the Hyperloop, you'd be traveling in basically a bullet train, kind of a tube. You'd be traveling in a car,
Yeah.
like a train car. But what they're going to be able to do with this is eventually you'll be able to drive your car onto a
Go
platform.
down, go in.
You'll be
Yes.
on a
Okay.
rail system.
Yeah.
Your car will be like your wheels will be strapped into place, and you'll go.
And then
Imagine the
it's not
customer service. on
400
that.
miles an
No,
hour.
think about this. It reminds me of like a chute, like a tube at a water park where
Silver
you have to
slide.
you stand like, all right, ready, go, and then you go down.
Yeah.
Like, what if they had a mix up and there's already a little.
You mean like a water tube?
Yeah. So like one guy's going, and then all of a sudden he just bumps in the back of you, and then you're.
Yeah.
I can't wait for us to try the Hyperloop in 50 years because that's what it's
Hey,
going to
where
be.
you at, man?
We're gonna
I'm
be 50 years
Hyperlooping
old,
downtown.
being like, this thing is too fast.
Uber Hyperloop. And Amir Uber Loop will be here soon.
So from
Hyperloop.
San Francisco to Los Angeles, it is 5.5 hours.
We figured that out.
Right, but that's not including.
After 5 minutes.
Thank you,
Alright.
Jason.
Thanks for the
You guys
update.
make me feel stupid.
Okay, so
That's what the graph is for.
so to wrap
I
this
didn't know
up
you
a
had a
little bit-
graph.
To wrap
This
this up
is
a
the
little bit,
I
graph.
didn't know you had visuals. I didn't know any of this.
Well, open your eyes, see with your mind. Let's wrap this up though. So
Yeah.
yes, we talked about Mark Zuckerberg.
So this is an example of someone with really good ideas choosing to implement them with their own money. Basically, he did found PayPal.
The company was really.
Yeah, he
Elon
was one of
Musk.
the
Oh,
founders.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know
he's
that.
one of the founders of PayPal.
Jeez, he's just
Really?
getting money
Yes.
in every
I don't think he's no longer involved. He's
No.
He sold the company. Yes.
Yes.
So
But-
that's a genius.
But
idea.
that's where he got his money. He didn't just come from nothing.
And also his money, like his CEO, his income compared to other CEOs, I think it's like 0.9%.
It's definitely
more.
magnets.
Right.
It's like compared to.
It's
I was
different.
just looking. His net worth is 20 billion, and Zuckerberg's is 73.
Yeah,
well,
but
in
the-
'89 compared to recently.
So let's
With
talk
stock-
about overall good that both of them have done for the world. I mean, I'd say Zuckerberg has definitely connected more people and given accessibility to underrepresented people that
Absolutely.
needed some kind of voice.
Facebook is a massive platform that
Right.
is used for
Look at that
many
though.
different
Look at that.
facets.
That's the magnets right there of how it's able to. There would
Magnets.
be no
This is
wear and
cool.
tear.
Dylan,
There'd
do you
be
mind
nothing.
pausing this
Yeah,
video
yeah.
really quick? But you're right. So Facebook connected millions of people. Facebook is honestly an undeniable platform for people who want to connect. I mean, I don't agree with Zuckerberg's approach to be paid, 20, 30, 40, 50 times more than the next employee. But
That's almost every CEO except.
right, exactly. It's good for CEOs to understand. And this is kind of happening. This is a new wave of people who want to get paid less so their employees can get paid
Well,
more.
their money is
I mean,
all tied up in stocks of their company. So
That's
like,
true too.
Assets.
That's very true.
Jeff
Totally.
Bezos is almost a quarter of a trillionaire.
Right. So, I mean, again, Zuckerberg, super respectable guy, but there's a lot there, especially with recently in the news with privacy concerns that I would say we should bash. Let's bash Zuckerberg.
Don't you
Bash
think you
him.
should get a
Bash
grill?
him.
You
What?
should get a grill.
This
There's
week, Zuckerberg has been bashed.
And then Elon Musk,
someone-
again,
I can't really
Well,
bash him.
that
except
gets
there's-
really
can't
weird with
bash
the
him.
interspace
Dating Grimes.
continental like alien warfare that we have to deal with. That's a whole other thing.
Right.
Let's talk about
Oh,
Space
Zuckerberg.
Force.
We didn't even talk about SpaceX. That's a whole
Yeah.
other
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Right.
Like, what was
We
the
did a
importance?
little
What was
bit.
the importance of SpaceX? Was that just because he
Space
wanted to show that he
exploration.
could
Space
he could
exploration.
shoot?
The goal of SpaceX is to get to Mars and create a colony.
That's the
pretty cool.
advanced goal.
Anyways,
That's crazy.
We like,
That is crazy. In a
Would you-
Tesla, then you
would
can
you
just
wanna
drive up on Mars. in a
Oh, we
Tesla.
didn't even talk about him launching the car into space.
True.
All of this stuff happened within the last
Elon,
year.
Elon, if you're watching, Entitle approves. You approved. Cool.
Get at us.
Awesome. So we're going to get into some current events as well. But really briefly, Dylan and I are going to show our production side of our website. We just want to touch base on it real quick, just because, there's a lot of projects that we've worked on, but it's also something that we want to be public about, that we do video production work. And that's mainly what we've done up until this point. So Dylan, if you don't mind kind of talking about it as we kind of discuss it and just scroll down.
Let's wait for it.
Is it lagged?
Got it.
There you go.
There we go. There's a list of some of the people we've worked with over the past several years. Yep, some of our favorites. We got the Garage on there. We did the X Games last year. Rotary is our most recent one.
Yeah, we just got finished doing that one. A good old 9 hours of filming at the Rotary, but that was super.
Some of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Exactly.
Definitely trying to get you involved with your
Super
community and with philanthropy and all the good work that they do. And it was a treat.
It was. Yeah.
They hosted a really cool event at the Guthrie.
Which was different than what they'd done the other years. I think they had done something like a convention center or something like that. And this year they want to do a little something nicer. But they did the Guthrie because they had like was it the 3-part like kind of section? That's why they had the kind of Guthrie theme with it to make it look like a play.
Right. It was a show play. It was a play. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
But that was super fun though. We had a lot of fun with that.
Some other notable names on here: Planned Parenthood. We worked with them to do some photos. Again, Highland Hills, a ski area in Bloomington, did some video work and live streams there. But so just knowing that this is kind of what our what we've grown from.
Our repertoire.
Exactly, our resume.
Our resume. It's our portfolio.
Exactly.
One of my favorites is probably Pursuit. Because it's small. We did a small video with them, and they're actually partnering with Adidas right now. It's a small
Actually,
app.
though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we did that video for them, and I mean, they used that as was it like a contest or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big now. They're like
right.
Well, good for them. That's awesome. That's really cool.
And we worked with them at their adolescent stage of just them starting, kind of like where we were at that point. We're just starting. We want to do video, but we worked. As a good friend of ours, Pedram. He is, I believe, one of the owners or one of the top guys. But just also news again, like Nick said, that they are working with Adidas on some things.
Yeah.
So
that is super cool.
Very cool.
That's really exciting to see.
And they're an app that I think it's like how they connect trainers with.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, I just love to talk about the Armory because the Armory is so new. It's so fresh. If you're watching, and you've probably been to an Armory show, but we have a good relationship with them. They are continuing to just book the most, the best and the most coolest artists that you can see. What are some artists coming up? Is it Zed that I saw?
We've got Zed's Dead. We got Dead Mouse coming up in August. We have
Greta Van Fleet. Also, Take You Back Sunday. That's cool.
Paramore is the next one.
Paramore's coming up. But they're also hosting all the music for the X Games, and that's something that we're going to be involved with this year again. We were so fortunate enough last year to be a part of the X Games, working with ESPN on some photography. Did a lot of different work when we were there. Jack and I were there in the pit, basically on the same level and field of the
parents and family and everyone. That was important to those people who are performing. Is really cool.
Exactly. And if you hear vaping in the background, Nick and Dylan are hitting and ripping them.
Just going to town.
Ripping them.
Hey, at least we're
X Games is a lot of fun. So that was our first chance to get inside US Bank Stadium. And
that was my first time at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, just to witness
fast action sports.
I actually
didn't
go
last
year.
Sports. You didn't go? Oh yeah, because I got my.
But you got to go to. Okay,
Dylan.
so
let me rip that jib.
So they're doing the music different this year. So you still got to go to the Flume show.
Oh yeah,
but instead of being outside, they're moving it into the Armory.
Well, it makes total sense because it's right there. You literally walk two blocks down and you're right there at the Armory.
Such a great. I've seen Zed 3 times.
Well, maybe we can talk to our hookups at the Armory.
You were at Zed with us too, right?
No, I didn't go because you guys went to Steve Aoki. That's what it was.
Oh, right.
And then Josh went for you.
No, I'm talking about Somerset. You were there.
Somerset, Zed and Zed's Dead was there. We're there. Yes.
Oh, okay. No,
right.
Me and Cole were doing something. Me and my brother were doing something else.
But you mentioned Aoki, and that was a VIP experience that we had. So it's just, we love making relationships, building that community, and working with these different organizations and companies on, how can we help them showcase some of their work, showcase some of the artists that they're doing. But again, we're a full media, production agency, and we're ready for projects. We love to work with you. We'd love to collaborate. If you're an artist, if you're a business, we're here to hear your story and tell it. So cool. Well, great. Next section, and then we'll go into some of our original content and videos that we're releasing today.
Yep.
It's super exciting. There's a couple current events that we wanted to talk about that we think are very important to to us and whatnot. So let me just go ahead and pull this up here. And yeah, so on the list, we have a couple. The first one that we want to talk about, and we can get excited about because it's somebody who is elected to office that we look to. There was a huge upset in New York. Dylan, do you remember who the House rep was?
Yeah, it was Joe Crowley.
Joe Crowley. And a little bit of background on Joe Crowley. He's been in that district for 10 years. He's an incumbent. Learned that he actually doesn't even live in New York, and I thought it was a law that you have to live in the state that you represent, maybe only for senator. But Joe Crowley, he is somebody that has been in the office for 10 years in this district. I believe it's in Queens or the Bronx. I can't remember, but specifically we're talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a progressive Democrat socialist, winning and upsetting
Bronx.
It's in the Bronx, winning and upsetting Joe Crowley for the seat in the House. This is a huge win for the progressive left. I mean, you know, the Bernie Sanders side of the wing, because again, Joe Crowley's been a Democrat in the House and in the office for 10 years, and
he's run unopposed for most of those years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yes.
So there hasn't been a Democratic challenger, and obviously in New York, it's a blue district. So
very blue district.
Clearly, if she's the candidate for the Democrats, she's going to beat any Republican challenger in that area. And what was the other thing that's really cool?
You know, she didn't spend as much money as Joe Crowley.
Well, yes, he was the number 4 ranking Democrat. And he was believed to be the successor to Nancy Pelosi as
one
the
of the
speaker.
successors, yes.
Yes.
Let's look at her policies or her issues.
Absolutely.
We have Medicare for all, housing as a human right, gun control, assault weapons ban, criminal justice reform, and private prisons, mobilizing against climate change, women's rights, restored Glass-Steagall, which is a
banking regulation, Wall Street regulation.
Higher education for all, solidarity with Puerto Rico, support LGBTQIA.
I know, right? They've added like 3 more initials onto that.
So basically, she's the new Bernie.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Well,
she's
vocal for the liberal side of the wing.
And yes, she is a Democrat. She's not an independent.
No.
She's a Democrat.
No, she's a Democrat, of course.
Yes. So super excited about that. Couple other things, you know, the way she got on the ballot was, you know, the way you would do it by asking for signatures. She didn't spend money, you know, getting signatures on the ballot like a lot of candidates do. She's super about, you know, just being representing the diverse, you know, New York, especially in that market, or I'm sorry, in that district. But it's really great to see, especially since she's a woman. I mean, let's just say that's great. She's a woman in working in Congress, and she's a diverse candidate. So I'm super excited to see somebody who is speaking for that side of the wing be in office.
Yeah, it was a really big deal. The grassroots campaign. It's really interesting that she's running as a Democrat. Obviously, that's what it takes to actually win right now. It'd be very hard for her to have done this as an independent, which I don't necessarily think is a great thing. But,
Totally.
you know, anything that moves the Democratic Party further towards progressive issues is great.
Right. Yeah, so big fan. Excited to see what happens with her. You know, let's see how vocal and how much attention she gets in the House. Hopefully, again, like Joe Crowley being, you know, the number 3 or number 4 person who could be Speaker of the House, the Democrats, you know, the center Democrats are really trying to figure out what they're going to do for a House Speaker if they end up winning in the fall of 2018.
Yeah, so she was outspent 17-1
Unbelievable.
in the campaign and ended up winning. But I think one of the funniest things to come out of it was segment that Sean Hannity did, where he put all of her policy positions up on the big screen on his show and was reacting to it like it was some crazy radical, when these are all things that are super popular among the American people. Absolutely. And she said, I think I read today that she might use that segment as a campaign ad in the general.
Yeah, definitely. What we'll do is share a great video of her and her campaign that they put out pretty recently. You'll see it on ENTIDAL's Facebook or on our website. But you can watch it, read a little bit more. We're a huge advocate for her. And again, can't wait to see what's happening. So cool. The next thing we have on our list is Anthony Kennedy resigning and thinking about who's going to replace him for the Supreme Court. A couple things we want to talk about. I mean, Dylan, if you want to open the floor for this, you know, why is it important that he's resigning at this time, specifically right now before the midterms, and, you know, who we could think could replace him? We might not know, but why is it important, and, you know, like abortion rights and whatnot?
So obviously, as everyone knows, in the 2016 election, one of the main campaign issues that Hillary was using to advocate was that the Supreme Court is going to be, obviously there was one Supreme Court pick already up for grabs during the election, but everyone was under basically the assumption that within the next 4 to 8 years, at least 2 more justices will be resigning or retiring. So Anthony Kennedy, I don't know when he was appointed. I believe he was appointed by Reagan.
Reagan sounds right, yes.
So he's been making or having the tie-breaking vote on all these very important, very, very important, not legislation, but court rulings.
He's a conservative who does swing to the left.
He crossed party lines multiple times.
Right, exactly. He's a social, I wouldn't consider him a social liberal, but he has voted in that.
That's how justices are supposed to work. They're not supposed to be left or right. They're supposed to take an issue and use the rule of law and apply it to every case. They're not supposed to be left or right.
Absolutely.
I mean, other justices in the past have obviously been historically right or left.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think it's the duty of a president who's elected in a certain party to appoint someone that will govern that way on the court.
Apply the rule of law as well as they can without, that's why a lot of like money in judge elections in like the states, or that's the thing, like that's very bad because you're putting polarization within those who make huge decisions.
Right, and the Supreme Court is supposed to be autonomous. Autonomous.
Just like Tesla's trucks.
Yeah, it's just
But that's a good point. And recently we've seen a couple of GOP key female senators come out and say, hey, we won't vote for or support a super conservative or completely conservative candidate who's not going to think critically in those moments of, social issues or anything like that, which is really good.
This Time article I'm reading about Kennedy says, quote, no one else in the court except Kennedy was on the prevailing side in both Citizens United and was it Orbigfell on gay marriage. So he's on both sides on landmark decisions, and he was technically, conservative.
Right, and he also voted to favor uphold Obamacare, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's so many good things about having that type of conservative in office.
Of course.
Right.
Who's not.
But now he's retiring, right? That's what you're saying?
Retiring,
now
yes.
he's retiring.
So it's an important time because it's right before the midterms.
Solid out just like the Republicans did.
The Republicans have control of both houses and as well as, the presidency. So it's very important that, we talk about this and, if he appoints somebody, it could be approved before the midterm. So that's where the Democrats are running into the issue of, should we wait? Should we push him to wait? It's almost impossible.
And are we okay with these people in our House of Representatives deciding this person?
I don't think citizens are. That's the whole point.
We're totally left out of it.
Citizens are not supposed to pick the judge specifically. You're not supposed to.
Well, the assumption is that the people in the House know how these people are gonna.
Of course.
Gonna swing their vote. Yeah.
How the people are gonna swing them better than we ever could.
Yeah.
And they have hearings with the nominees. It's not like they're just like, oh, this person, okay. They have hearings and they have to get approved. But now, since they use the nuclear option, where they only need 50 votes or 51 votes, and there's 51 Republicans and 49 Democrats, and plus the vice president can always cast a tie-breaking vote.
Right.
So you'd have to get at least 2 to 3 Republicans to not approve whoever it's going to be.
At least 2 to 3.
Otherwise, it's just going to be the first person they pick, and that's how it's going to be.
Do you think that's possible, though? Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, just hearing,
female
GOP senators coming out and saying, hey, we won't support a, candidate for the Supreme Court that won't support abortion rights or won't support, certain left-leaning policies, which is super important because there are, center or middle, Republicans, like specifically female senators who want to uphold abortion rights, like Roe versus Wade. Very important, yes.
That being said, they approved Gorsuch, who is not an advocate for that kind of thing. So, yes, it's going to be a very interesting environment for lawmaking and laws changing.
Right. So one thing that I have a good criticism on is this uproar of Roe versus Wade being, being turned over, Roe versus Wade being in jeopardy. And I think it's a great Democrat talking point, but I also think there is some respect to a previous Supreme Court decision of, hey, we voted this way, or the Supreme Court at this time voted this way in this direction, and we shouldn't go after, or we shouldn't try to turn over a rule that's already, or a law that's going already to be in law. So for me, I can understand why there's concern about that, but I also think that since it's something that's already been decided upon, we shouldn't have too much scare or feel like it's too much of an issue.
So I think most people in our generation agree that Roe v. Wade is what's called settled law. Like we all agree on it. This verdict has been reached and we're all right there. So I think the best example of something we thought was settled law, and it may sound like just a right-wing talking point, but gay marriage. Okay, so we lived for a certain amount of years with the marriage being defined one way, and that was considered settled law until public opinion shifts in a way where it's not settled law anymore. So
that's where it could be.
That's where it could be up for grabs.
Yes,
and that's where the thinking, and the rhetoric becomes somewhat dangerous.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense, especially since the right and the presidency specifically are very much, and the vice president, let's just name him, Mike Pence, obviously would love to see Roe versus Wade go away.
Of course. That's purely a religious standpoint too.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's something to be concerned about, but I also think it is a talking point that we shouldn't consider at this time. We have to see what happens with the Supreme Court nominee.
Jack, anything to
Nope.
throw in?
I don't follow as much as you guys do, but it's definitely interesting to hear about.
It's just one of those points where, like, if it doesn't affect you, then what's the point?
I think if we see this as a campaign issue, even in the midterm elections, though, like, it could definitely affect people's votes, especially women's votes.
How so? Do you think? I guess I'm not too far into this. I don't really understand too much, but I mean I understand the basic premise. But like, why would that be a problem?
So I don't have the data to support it, but I generally believe that women
are more supportive.
They view it as a women's issue. Do
you think that will change? Because I mean, we watch Steven Crowder. We watch these people, Ben Shapiro, who have very conservative views, but also give you very solid and valid explanations for why. But
totally,
they're very, very. They're almost all.
But what's your point?
But I'm saying they're giving you facts, and they're giving you. Like when they explain it to you, it makes sense. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I never thought about it that way, or certain ways like that.
Right, but the problem with those types of opinions and facts that they are speaking to is that that's the way they think. They're not considering that they can have other people can think a certain way. Like, yes, Ben Shapiro or those people speak that truth.
They're very eloquent and they're articulate.
The right thing and the moral thing to do is to allow people to have different opinions and government should have those options be available to people. Like your choices, regardless if you differ from it, should be available regardless of what your belief is.
If we lived in a country where the most popular opinions were represented by our government and legislation, it would be a different landscape completely.
Oh, for sure.
I think a lot of the divisiveness that's talked about on the news is mostly just in Washington and Hollywood. I think a lot of the people that we know and that are our age are mostly in agreement about like 90% of stuff.
Right, it's specifically our generation.
There's social issues that those are the worst. They're super divisive, and they don't really move us forward to a more prosperous or healthy or better country.
I agree. To circle back to what you were saying about how, and you're questioning how it's going to affect the midterm elections, it's because people vote on social issues, and that's a problem. It's okay, but it's a problem because people get revved up about abortion rights or gay marriage.
It's a gut reaction. Like
exactly.
No one's for
you have a here or there.
It's about the right for
education.
Yes. Like places like Ireland, they weren't able to get abortions in their country at all. They went across state lines. They did self-abortions, and a lot of women died because of that. No matter what, people are going to get abortions.
They had a crisis.
Absolutely.
They're going to have abortions.
They had a crisis.
So
it's going to happen,
saying they can't do it is basically saying also, like...
But they did it.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
They did it. They passed abortion legislation in Ireland.
That's huge. Ireland...
And it was huge. It was one of the biggest stories of the past several years in Ireland.
You still have to respect, because those opinions come from those are ideologies instilled within you.
Exactly.
You cannot
exactly. Act on those opinions, have those opinions, and have that central truth, but making sure that you respect other people's central truths and what they believe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's the problem sometimes with the religious argument is that the religious people only think through the lens of religion, and they need to make sure law is represented by the people.
Politics and religion it's pretty much mandated.
Well, they should be separated.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah,
this is a great segue.
Yeah.
Speaking of religion and abortion rights, let's talk about weed. Let's talk about marijuana. No, this is good. That's good. It's great. Dylan, introduce this. This is the last current event that we wanted to talk about. I think it's super important because, our generation are also stoners. No, I'm kidding. But there's a lot of medicinal use for marijuana and recreational.
CBD oil is literally
available in your stores today.
Right. So
That's insane.
GNC.
Dylan, what is this? What is this, Dylan?
Okay, so
Chuck Schumer.
huge news. All right, so the not the Speaker of the House, but the Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, has introduced a bill. He introduced a bill, which is huge, to decriminalize and regulate marijuana at the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we live right now, marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug.
Classified among heroin and LSD.
Yes.
Schedule 1 drug, yeah.
Schedule 1 drug, which means no medicinal purpose.
Yeah.
None.
But this was what, in the 30s?
Yes.
60s?
That's when
Yeah.
the original law was passed. It was an executive order, I believe. But yes, so classified the same as heroin and LSD. By striking marijuana from the act, Schumer's office said that the bill would decriminalize marijuana at the federal level. So you have states, I don't know how many there are, maybe there's under
At this
10 or
point,
more
Vermont
than
just
10.
went. So,
Vermont is recreational.
5?
oh, that's legal?
Yeah.
More than 5.
That's-
Really?
There's some that have legal and some that
Washington,
have decriminalized.
California.
So Minnesota is decriminalized.
Nevada.
So if you're, I
Yeah.
think it's if you're with.
Are you talking
An
about
ounce.
decriminalization?
It's all
or-
about an ounce
There's
nowadays,
decriminalization and then there's
43.5,
recreational legal
yes.
use.
Something, yep.
So obviously
Yeah.
Minnesota doesn't have rectual use, but
It's
we
medicinal.
have decriminalized.
Well, we
I
do
know
have,
it's for
And we
medicinal.
have, yes, we
We have
do
medicinal.
have medicinal use.
I have a friend who used to work at a medicinal. Well,
Yeah,
it was
right.
run very tightly, like doctors.
But how do you
and
how,
pharmacists
so
were-
how do you guys feel about so like when it's classified as a Schedule 1 drug and it's put in with heroin and LSD, you also have the people who say that it has medicinal purposes, but so does turmeric, so does all these
Turmeric?
other natural herbs that can do the exact
Mhm.
same things as marijuana. But how for people who are in legislation and the Senate to pass these bills and not be like, well, what's the reason for it? If you can just take these other things have the exact same inflammation, like reduction of inflammation that
Sure.
that marijuana does. I mean,
I think
is it just because it's a cult?
it's the high that is
yeah.
associated with marijuana?
It's
That's
it's the psychoactive part of it.
I would just say that with the amount of opioids that are used for
Of course.
very basic
Opioid
healing
Well,
processes
nowadays, especially
or
people are
medical
overprescribed
treatments
and
is
everything
out
like
of
that.
control.
You have a neck issue. Let me give you some.
Like, let me give you
Percocet.
30,
and then you'll get
35.
addicted to that, and then your next step is.
I think we can blame the
Yes.
pharmaceutical industry for addiction. for,
Absolutely.
you know,
and that's
opioids.
Opioid. We have an epidemic going on right now, and it strikes like upper middle class
Yeah.
suburbs.
Totally.
You don't think so, but those people go out of like
Yes.
Detroit,
Absolutely.
Michigan. The people in the suburbs, they get addicted to
Right.
opioids unintentionally, and their next stop is heroin or something because it's way cheaper, and that's
Right.
mixed with it's just dangerous. It's a dangerous road.
Exactly, and that's the opposite where Dylan was going with marijuana. That marijuana has all those medicinal purposes.
Clearly,
to
clearly,
be against.
But do they have
opioids.
any more medicinal purpose than turmeric or anything else that it's an anti-inflammatory that would do the same thing as marijuana?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm all for this, but I'm just trying to
I would
maybe
say-
understand that the reason why people would even vote for it instead of
so
decriminalizing turmeric.
Just the fact that it is, how can we have both? How can we have states that are saying medicinal use? It's only available for medicinal use, not recreational.
Exactly.
So they're acknowledging it has a medicinal use, which directly flies in the face of Schedule 1. It has no medicinal use. That's the
does.
main point.
Yeah.
So, but okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good. Just to touch on that real quick, I think that there's nothing like marijuana. I mean, turmeric is great. I mean, I don't.
It's
know
just
the
because
facts.
the
I don't know facts.
active property
Right.
of it that people are finding so appealing to them.
That, but I also say that there's people that just appreciate the CBD side and just the non-psychoactive THC.
Pretend I'm an idiot and I don't know what that is.
So
Explain.
THC is what gets you.
But CBD.
CBD is the relaxation.
It's a non-psychoactive
that's the medicinal side of marijuana.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that there's nothing like turmeric doesn't have CBD. Does it have those properties like marijuana? You know what I mean?
It's just
I
an
don't know.
anti-inflammatory. That's the only medical property that would be in line with marijuana that people would
Right.
want to get rid of. If they have inflammatory problems, they would just take, do I choose weed or do I choose that
Right.
that thing?
Right.
Absolutely.
And again, to your point, all of our generation can probably mostly agree that marijuana is, has
Also,
medicinal use.
it has been blocked from being researched for those medicinal uses.
Exactly.
Because
because
of
it's
Schedule 1.
That's
1.
true.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Which is the
that's a
stupidest
big
thing.
problem.
Right.
Okay, but
So that's why this is such a big deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and other reasons it's a big deal. It's co-sponsored by Bernie, so
Of
that's
course,
huge.
of course.
Obviously, you
Of
would
course.
co-sponsor that because he's introduced his own
But
legislation.
who's the
in
other guy?
past.
Who's
He
the other
smokes,
guy?
though.
Tim Kaine,
Tim Kaine.
who was
Dad-
Hillary's vice president candidate.
Dad, vice president. Dad.
Yes, and Tammy Duckworth, who is another, not progressive kind of Democrat.
Right. Totally.
which is great.
This is a good
That's
point.
awesome.
It's to show that there's some mainstream liberal Democrats who are trying to open the doors, or at least supporting the progressive side in view of, hey, marijuana can be medicinal. Marijuana is a thing that needs to be, controlled like alcohol. That's the opening of the door.
See, and that's the part that's crazy to me, that we allow alcohol, which kills thousands and thousands of people. Then you have marijuana, who you can't really distinguish whether that was the purpose for the killing, or that, I guess, if someone did die.
It's never killed anyone by just marijuana.
Exactly. I injected too many pots in my arm, and I couldn't handle it.
You understand
I
why
died.
it's suppressed, right? It's suppressed because paper, that industry, hemp, that's changing. Marijuana is a substitute for opioids. The pharmaceutical industry would hate to have this come out.
Also, private prison systems.
How do you feel about the gateway? The gateway
absolutely.
thing. People say that it's a gateway drug.
We haven't even
marijuana.
scratched the
One
surface
sec.
of how
That's
this.
that's the oldest argument in the book.
The last thing is,
I know. I'm just saying,
Oh,
for people who think that way, if you're going to start prescribing people marijuana instead of turmeric, what do you think the outcome of that is going to happen? The negative outcomes of that. If people are going to start doing marijuana, then they're going to go into cocaine. I don't even know what the
Do you
next
believe
progression.
that?
I don't personally.
So-
I'm just being devil's
No, that's
advocate
great.
right now.
Some of the biggest opposition arguments have been, number one, gateway drug.
Yes.
Clearly. Like that, it's a gateway drug to other ones, which has never been proven.
Yeah, where's the science?
Which I
I wanna see science on it.
which I agree with completely.
Yes.
You can't.
Number two is kids will get more access to it and smoke it, or
They're already doing
they'll
it.
they're too
understand
young
its
for it.
properties and
And
understand its effects.
if you see right here in the article, it says advertising for marijuana and related products would be restricted for use should
Of course.
the National Institute of Health deem that
It just
necessary.
needs to be regulated. That's
Exactly.
the difference. It needs to be
Right.
regulated.
And do you
yes.
think is I don't know how far his what was it? Was it a law or was it a bill?
It's a bill.
It's a bill.
And it has a lot of support.
It's not a law yet.
So how does he have like specific how he would go about
Oh, I'm sure.
decriminalizing it, like the age,
Federally
so
decriminalized.
how much, certain specifics, I guess. More so, does it say more specifics
It
at
would
all?
probably be closer to
That's something that we should share on our Entitled Facebook. Just if you want to read the bill, want to look more into it, you can find it here.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. So I think if the Democrats use this as a campaign issue, they could actually see some success.
Do you think it's just a Democratic thing, or do you think it's Republicans also
This is what I was going to say earlier. The pharmaceutical has bought Congress. I'm sure, there's tons of people in Congress, left or right, that are influenced by the pharmaceutical company. That's the roadblock, and that's why it's taking this long. But it's becoming normal opinion to accept that
Kinda like
marijuana.
gay marriage, all
Exactly.
like that?
It's now swinging to the left on this issue,
It's like
which is really
60%
good.
of Americans.
The
Approved.
Republicans that you're going to get coming over are going to be the libertarians who believe in no government intervention in their lives whatsoever, especially as something like a plant that you can grow yourself.
Historically,
Yeah.
it's not a conservative.
Right.
It doesn't have
Exactly.
No, right.
So,
Okay. I was curious.
this leaves a huge window open for the Democrats to say, this is our issue. We're going to get it through. We're going to stop the private prisons from having so many people in there for marijuana nonviolent charges. We're going to stop arresting people.
Totally.
Do you see that happening with a Republican House, though?
It's
And
tough,
what if
midterms
Trump
could
gets
change
reelected?
that. But also,
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
this could pass with the current Congress. I do
Well, I
think
agree.
there's support.
I hope that'd be
Yes.
awesome.
From what I remember,
It'd be up
reading.
to the libertarians and the Republican side.
Right.
Really.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Because there are staunch Republicans that would definitely fight against something like that. And they'll use all of those tricks that I just
Of
said.
course.
They'll use all of those talking
It's the same
points.
thing as
Like they're more informed on it, but clearly the entire population of the country.
everyone knows, but
Wants
obviously
it.
there's money involved, so it's
It's all about money. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very true.
So
it's
we
like
don't
a whole-
get what we
It's a
want.
whole gun control issue.
Trading
It's
the
like,
opioid
of course.
money
Alright,
for the
gonna get
marijuana
that
money.
out of here.
Anderson Cooper just wanted to take a quick peek into
Anderson
Silver
Cooper,
Fox.
send us a shout out.
No,
Yeah, but
thank
that's
you.
No, this is great. So yeah, that's what we had for current events. Of course, we will be doing different ones each podcast, but I think those are some very relevant ones that we were excited about talking about. The last part of our podcast, as we kind of approach an hour and a half here, we want to introduce us a little bit and talk about Entitle, the platform, the collective. We'll show just briefly the Wave section of the website, which is referring to our About Us. Dylan, if you want to pull that up while we talk. But just briefly, really quick, we introduce ourselves by our first name in the beginning of the podcast, but I want to kind of go around the table just real quick and introduce ourselves and our role in Entitle. Why we're even doing this podcast, why are we going live, and what you can expect from Entitle moving forward. So Again, my name is Justin Lees. I am the Chief Content Officer of ENTIDAL. What that means is I oversee the production side, operating a camera, editing, but also, working and finding new people to do that and work with. So, Dylan, if you don't mind.
Yep. I'm Dylan Haugesog. I call myself the media coordinator, and that can mean a lot of different things.
That's very true.
We all as a team work on all the shoots and trying to come up with new ideas, things to add to our experience. Personally, I've been working really hard to become an individual creator and get online and insert my voice into all these different things. I have lots of ideas that I like to share with everyone around me a lot of the time. Yes. So using this podcast as the platform for talking about what's going on, whether it be every week, every 2 weeks, we just want to be bringing you guys some topics that, matter to us, should matter to you. We want to be a part of it, so that's why I'm here.
Cool. Jack?
Yeah, I'm Jack. I'm the head cinematographer. Me and Justin do a lot of the videos together, actually shoot the videos, do a lot of the photography of it, but we know the ins and outs of cameras and everything like that, and so we try to make sure we follow all the rules of the camera and everything like that, and I'm there to help everyone make sure that we're shooting the videos in the best possible way that we possibly can. Totally. As well as giving my visual expression and my input on videos that we do make. So
putting your personal touch.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Through the eyes of Jack.
Personal touch. Yeah.
Through the eyes of Jack. That's where your own channel.
Yeah. There we go.
Jack's perspective.
Yeah. My name is Nick Hofstad. You may know me as the Hoff. I'm basically the head of music direction for ENTIDAL, and what that means is essentially curate music for our content, whether that's original music composed by friends that I work with, or also just music that I can find and legally use. And that it seems like a smaller part in like music, but music is essential to most videos and content.
Absolutely.
Going forward, it's gonna be more important too, because now we're really getting into the original content, which you'll see soon.
Yes.
But yeah, so technically my role is the executive for ENTIDAL Music, and ENTIDAL Music is overencompassing the entire music aspect of what we do.
Absolutely.
It's not even just, we do a lot of musical events. We've filmed a lot of after movies, etc.
It's our specialty.
Lately I've been getting my hand into editing and directing and writing our own concepts, and all of us are actually trying to do that as well. But definitely. I really want to take the head on just making sure we have a voice not only with our content video-wise, but also the audio that goes into it,
and in the music industry.
For sure.
And
absolutely.
I don't have the a massive amount of technical musical knowledge, so that's why I use outside sources that I work with, friends of mine, to curate original score for our content. And we want to make sure we're original on all aspects.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun to use your own music, but it's also cool to have something made specifically for.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we also have a couple other people who aren't here but are still part of the team.
Yes.
I want to give a couple shout outs.
Yeah,
people we've worked with along the way.
People newer than I think.
Some guy named Bo Gillis, who's a
master
animator. He's a savant.
Graphic designer.
Another friend of mine, Dylan Jensen, who's
programmer.
a musical genius in my opinion. And
Bo Gillis goes by Dark Blue Effects.
Yeah.
You can look it up on YouTube. There's also a link that we'll be sharing on all our videos because he's worked on all of them. So.
And then does Dylan have a place where he's
he has a
making?
We can share the link. It's on SoundCloud, but he's been working
in the description
with,
for sure.
Rap artists. He's doing a composition for a video game.
Totally.
Yeah. But he's been doing music for at least 10 years plus, and it's just one of his passions. And I'm like, hey, this can work together if we,
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So big thing about music, and it's a good segue, is that it's so much in our DNA at ENTIDAL. Like, we do a lot of projects around music. We've done music videos. We've covered music events. Something coming up is Lollapalooza in August. ENTIDAL will be there working with an artist in behind the scenes, as well as doing media and photo work at the shows. But what we are is a collective. So we're a collective of creators. All of us consider ourselves creators, and our job and goal is to bring people together to work in media. You can check out our website. You can see all the projects we worked on, but we want to bring you along with the ride when we make these videos, as well as invite you to work with us. And so if you're a musician, if you're a videographer, if you anything that you do in terms of art,
artist in any aspect, or
hit us up.
A creator in any sense of the word.
Yes.
If you don't have that outlet you're looking for, then we can help you out. That
Totally.
sounds like a
For
cult,
sure.
but
Yeah, and
For sure.
entitled.com is a platform for that. Really quick, Dylan, if you don't mind showing the wave side of the website.
Yep, got it up right here.
So I'm going to switch over to that. But just briefly, we can take a look at the About Us section. And if you don't mind making full screen.
The hardest thing.
Cool. So yeah, this is the Wave section of the website. What Wave refers to is, Entitle has that Wave logo, but the Wave section is us, and it is a little bit about what we do and who we are. But there's a nice paragraph at the beginning that explains our vision for Entitle. And as you scroll down, you talk about us, meeting the collective, who we are, our roles, and our biographies.
look at those great pictures.
Yeah, shout out to Emily Isaacson Photography. She did all these great photos for us, and we will be linking her in the comments on these when we post them. But again, this is just a little bit of what we do. We talk about storytelling, we talk about the technology we use, but you can see a little bit about us, understand where we're coming from, our vision, what we want to accomplish, and also get to know us a little bit better too. So yeah, please check it out. We've got some great photos there from past gigs. There's more to come with the website, but if you want to learn a little bit about who we are, please do visit the website, again, www.entitled.com. And yeah, we hope you come and enjoy our new way and our perspective of media.
Yeah. If there's anything else you want to know about us, feel free to ask. Otherwise, just tune in and watch our videos, and you should get a pretty good idea from that.
There's also a contact bar that you can also
Hit us up.
Yes.
Cool. So we're going to end this show. We are super excited about 3 new releases. This is content and original content that we have had kind of in the back burner working on for the longest time. So we're going to show a couple videos that we've made and also talk a little bit about the production that went into them. We won't take a lot of time doing so, but we want to showcase some of the work that we do. Nick was able to write his own story. We went out and filmed it, which is really cool. But we also have some comedy sketches that we're looking at and that we've produced. And does anyone else want to introduce these videos a little bit?
You're first.
which one we're starting with.
So do you want to do Blood Money first?
Yeah.
Blood
Cool.
Money.
So there's 3 videos that we've made. Again, we will share them after the podcast, but the first one is Blood Money. It is a video and work by Nick Hosted, produced. Do you want to talk a little bit
It's
about
an
it?
original 3-part series that I've came up with over the last 7 months, essentially. It's been in my head, and I kind of conceptualized it like that with listening to kind of certain. Sometimes I just listen to music and ideas come to me.
Just vibe out.
And I just vibe out it. and then I started getting more in depth with it. I wrote out a script, location, got everyone together, and it's a 3-part series and releasing 2 videos. The second video will be released within 2 weeks. First video is being released tonight, and it was started out as a visual storytelling video
Experiment.
I mean, it doesn't have any audio besides music. It just has the video and the audio. It's supposed to be telling a story that you'll see, and we're making a 3rd video, spoiler alert, that'll branch the 2 videos together, because initially you're going to be wondering what's going on. The 3rd video is going to be more expansive, it's going to be longer, it's going to be more it's going to be produced in a more what's the word,
Cinematic.
yeah
So.
no, it's just going to be more technical in the way we go about it. But these 2 videos kind of want to showcase a different light of Entitled.
Exactly. And yes, on that point of that, so we've always covered shows. We've really been, the beginnings till about now, we've always covered shows and did other work for other people. Now Entitled is going to do more original content. So meaning we are writing and producing those videos ourselves. So that's where we're at now. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So Blood Money is a first video into a new series that we're going to do cinematic storytelling through. They're going to consist of 3 videos, but this is the first video in the series. So let me go ahead and switch over to that.
Enjoy.
Yeah, this will be the first one.
Let's get this full screen up top here.
Is there a delay?
Yes, there is a delay.
Oh, that's why.
We got it.
I was gonna say, why enter full screen? You got it. You're so close.
It's an easy. Alright, now I should be able to just. There we go.
Spooky.
There we go. So that's part
What does it
one
mean?
of the
Honestly, I don't even know what it
Posters.
means, but it's gonna mean something soon enough. Just kidding.
So yeah, the idea is that, you know, you have to watch the next one and then the next one.
Well, we'll talk details later, but we have a plan for just an original showcase. It's gonna be, I'll give you a little hint. Think Black Mirror.
That's a good one.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I feel that. A little bit.
Totally.
That in terms of how it's structured.
Right. Again, produced in-house, written by Nick and ENTIDAL, and you can find it on our YouTube. It's live now. Yeah, we'll also put the link on our Facebook. You can check it out. But we're super excited about that series.
And for the next transition, totally different type of video.
So, yeah, that's a good way to say it because we're going to have a laugh, aren't we, guys?
Yes.
We need to take David in this.
So, yeah, another guy that we work with very closely. Somebody want to do a shout out to David because that's super important.
David
to us.
Dobbins.
Thanks,
good old,
David.
Good old childhood friend of mine.
We miss you.
So we're going to show you a trailer to a video we put out. Something that's important to us is that we're doing comedy as well because we want to showcase, you know, our humor and our creative, hilarious ideas. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll show you this first video, but this is a video that we made. It's called How to Make Your Own Vape Juice. And it's a way to make your own vape juice.
It is what it says.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and put that on the screen here.
Let us know what you guys think.
This is a comedy video. Again, we are super excited about this. We've had some great friends and actors. Nick is also in this video, but we're going to...
I make a cameo.
Oh, yes.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh, you do?
Just barely.
But you'll have to watch the whole
Spoiler.
video to really see the whole thing.
All right, here we go.
Step 1, liquefy. Brisket. Brisket. This is safe, right?
So that's just a little trailer.
It's a little teaser for you guys. Yeah, so that is live now on our YouTube. And check out the full video. But
Keep
again,
an open mind.
keep an open mind. We're super excited to release our first comedy video. David Dobbins, if you're watching, you'll share it as well. But it's a good laugh.
This will
trust
be
me.
shared on YouTube, and we'll probably share it on Facebook as well.
Totally.
Right?
Yes, we'll share all the links.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun making that one. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
A little
but
bit.
We came back with something really fun. I think you guys will get a kick out of it.
Again, we're releasing these series. Will have another video coming afterward. They're not going to be correlated necessarily, but we'll do some more comedy videos. We want to make a good laugh. So we have some great ideas coming your way. So
I'm super excited for that. Yeah.
cool. Great. The last video series and the first video in that series we're releasing is a video called Yellowstoned. I had a good time in Yellowstone recently. We made a good edit about my experience there, but we're calling this series Afterglow. And Afterglow, the idea is that we have first-person perspective videos, meaning that you can see it from your point of view or first-person perspective. This first video has some clips that are not first-person perspective, but they showcase the scenery, the activities, the environment. But the idea is we're going to show first-person perspective videos in Afterglow. Dylan,
As immersive as possible, like you're there. all different kinds of experiences, adventures. So this is just a trailer for the first one. Justin put together a really cool longer video on this that we're looking forward to releasing for you guys. So take a look at the trailer and let us know what you think.
Totally. And this first video will be out. This video isn't out currently, but it will be out sometime this week. We're thinking end of the week. The other two videos, Blood Money and How to Make Your Own Vape Juice, is out now. You can see it on YouTube. Check it out. Again, we'll share the links, but we want you to enjoy it, but also we want to hear your reactions. Like, tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you think is funny, what you hate.
Well, don't say that.
Want to hear it. So
no criticism.
Want to hear it all.
This was filmed in at Bush Lake.
cool.
Nice.
Check it out. Like I said, we'll share the link to the full video sometime this week. But again, we want to capture those scenic moments in our lives. And, I'm able to travel, and so the rest of the guys. And, we plan on making more videos as well as more first-person perspective videos. Dylan, your original idea was having it for after movies for shows. That's why we're calling it Afterglow. Is that right?
Yep. So hopefully we get a chance to cover some of our favorite artists, some other ones that you guys recommend, and come back with a real concert experience and see where that idea takes us. There's a lot of things we might be able to do with it going forward. So it's going to be based on whatever we see people liking and, eating up. So eating it up.
Heat it up. Cool. Just really quick, some things coming up. We have another second Blood Money video that will be released in the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We have another comedy video that we're going to release as well. We're covering some shows. We'll be at the Static Panic show at Bastille Days in 2 weeks. And then there's also a show with our friend Sam Bramble, Mango. They're an up-and-coming band that just are going to put out a new song and demo pretty soon, but we want to be there. It's going to be at, I think it's at Mortimer's. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool. We'll be at those shows. We'll probably take some photos and videos. We'll share them with you. But again, you can expect more from these 3 series: the comedy, the Blood Money series, which will be more than just Blood Money, but
it'll be it's like an intro to our
cinematic video series. Totally.
Yeah.
Very excited.
And we're not stopping. We're going to keep going.
There's a lot more content.
The second comedy
coming.
video will be released within
2 weeks.
Yes.
And lastly, I will be at Lollapalooza covering the events, the shows, the artists, and you'll see some behind the scenes on our Instagram.
Backstage with Travis Scott.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Me and the
we'll be
weekend
right
will probably be hanging out the whole time.
Yeah,
No.
Stay tuned for that interview. And
Right.
When is
Exactly.
X Games by chance?
X Games is middle of July. We expect to have some participation in X Games, which is going to be good. I will be there for sure. I don't know what capacity, like last year where we were so fortunate to be doing media. We might be able to do that again with our friends over at ESPN, but we are still working out the details. But we will be there. We'll share some photos and videos, and we're excited to do that. So. Cool. Well,
awesome.
Yeah, I think that's it. Again, all those links to those videos will be shared to our Facebook. Again, we're super excited. Check out our website, www.entitled.com. It's going to be a platform for us moving forward. We plan on doing these podcasts every 2 weeks. Super excited to do that. We are planning to also do them every week once we have some more content and some more time to do so. But this is our first one, Entitled Release Party. Anything else before we head out, guys?
I think you guys you'll really like our upcoming videos.
Original content.
drop a like, leave a comment. Let us know what parts you liked.
Destroy that like
For real.
Again, this is our first podcast, so any technical difficulties, I blame Hofstad.
Absolutely.
Bro, fist that like button.
Brofist.
Bro,
All right.
smash that like button.
Entitled on 3. 1, 2, 3. Entitled.
Entitled.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for coming in.
Have a great
All
night.
right.
Enjoy your Sunday. Fun day.
Bye.
Oh, this is our outro that
Oh,
Dylan
here we go.
was supposed to have queued up.
Here we go.
It's cute.
Just give it 2 seconds.
All right.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.